What if you were told that your deepest desires are not merely whimsical dreams, but are in fact echoes of a reality that already exists, waiting for you to claim it? What if the life you yearn for, the abundance you seek, the love you crave, is not something you must build from scratch, but something you must simply allow to manifest? For too long, you have been taught to ask, to hope, to wish upon a star, to approach the universe as a beggar pleading for scraps from a master's table. You have participated in the endless cycle of vision boards that gather dust. You have chanted affirmations that feel hollow in your throat. And you have wrestled with the stubborn, unyielding resistance of your current circumstances. You have followed all the rules of attraction. Yet the things you want most remain tantalizingly out of reach, leaving you to wonder, what is the missing secret? The problem has never been your desire, your worthiness, or the techniques themselves. The problem lies in a fundamental misunderstanding of your relationship with the cosmos. You have been taught to be a supplicant, when your true nature is that of a commander. You have been positioned as a passive receiver, when you are, in fact, the central broadcasting station from which your reality is projected. The universe is not a fickle deity to be persuaded. It is a perfectly obedient mirror, a vast and impartial field of energy that does not give you what you want, but unfailingly gives you what you are. This is the great secret that separates those who struggle from those who create with ease. It is not about attracting. It is about emitting. It is not about chasing. It is about becoming. The frustration you feel is the friction between the reality you are consciously asking for and the reality you are subconsciously commanding with your deepest beliefs and feelings. This journey we are about to embark upon is not another collection of tips or tricks to add to your arsenal of failed attempts. It is a deep, foundational recalibration of your entire perception of self and reality. Together, we will move beyond the superficial laws of attraction and delve into the immutable laws of being. We will explore ancient philosophies and transformative stories that reveal how to stop pleading with the mirror and instead change the self that casts the reflection. You will learn to speak the native language of the universe, which is not words, but frequency and feeling. You will discover how to command your reality with quiet confidence, not by shouting at the heavens, but by mastering the silent conversations within your own mind. Prepare to leave behind the identity of the seeker and step into the power of the creator. The true secret to manifestation is not in commanding the universe, but in commanding yourself. We begin our journey by dismantling the very foundation upon which your current reality is built. This foundation is the belief that the world is outside of you, that circumstances happen to you, and that you are a separate entity navigating a world that is solid, objective, and independent of your inner state. We must shatter this foundation, for it is a lie. It is the most convincing, most persistent lie you have ever been told. The truth is far more simple and infinitely more powerful. The universe is a mirror. It is a vast, cosmic, flawless mirror. It has no will of its own, no preferences, no agenda. It does not judge you. It does not punish you. And it does not reward you. It simply, and with perfect, unwavering accuracy, reflects back to you the totality of who you are being. Everything you experience, from the mundane to the magnificent, from the gentle kindness of a stranger to the jarring shock of an unexpected bill, is a reflection. It is an echo in the physical world of a vibration that originates within you. This is the meaning of the ancient Hermetic axiom, one of the most profound truths ever recorded. As within, so without. As above, so below. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a law of cosmic mechanics. Let us break it down. As within refers to the entire complex of your inner world. It is your dominant thoughts. Yes, but it is so much more. It is the subtle, under the surface hum of your chronic emotions. It is the deeply grooved channels of your subconscious beliefs, the assumptions you make about life, about yourself, about other people. Often without even realizing, you hold them. It is your fears, your secret joys, your unhealed wounds, your highest aspirations. This entire inner landscape, this vibrant, chaotic, and powerful inner state, is the object held up before the cosmic mirror. So without is the reflection that appears. It is the canvas of your life. It is the state of your bank account, the quality of your relationships, the condition of your physical body, the people you meet, the opportunities that come to you, and the ones that pass you by. There is no disparity between these two. None. If your inner world is defined by a persistent feeling of lack, a fear that there is never enough, the mirror of the universe has no choice but to reflect a reality of scarcity. The bills that are always slightly larger than your income, of opportunities that seem to vanish at the last second. If your inner world is saturated with a sense of unworthiness, the universe will dutifully reflect back people and situations that treat you as less than, that overlook you, that confirm your deepest fear, that you are not good enough. Conversely, if your inner world is cultivated to hold a state of quiet confidence, it's of genuine self-love, and a calm knowing that all is well, the universe must, by law, reflect a reality of respectful relationships, of synchronous events, of resources appearing exactly when they are needed. The reflection cannot defy the source. Herein lies the great folly of humanity's endless struggle. We spend our lives trying to change the reflection in the mirror, while leaving the source of that reflection untouched. Imagine you are standing before your bathroom mirror, and you see a frown on your face. You dislike this frown. It makes you unhappy. What is the logical course of action? Do you reach out and try to physically push the corners of the reflection's mouth upwards? Do you yell at the mirror? Command it to smile? Plead with it to show you a happier face? Do you cover it with pictures of smiling people, hoping it will get the message, or, in a fit of rage and frustration at its refusal to change, do you shatter the mirror with your fist, only to find 1,000 fractured pieces on the floor, each one reflecting a small piece of that same persistent frown? It is an absurd image. Yet this is precisely how we live our lives. We try to change our boss, argue with our spouse, manipulate our friends, and struggle and strain against our financial situation. We are screaming at the mirror. We are trying to force the reflection to change. We exhaust ourselves in this futile effort, never realizing that all we ever had to do was smile. The moment you change the source, the moment you alter the expression on your own face, the reflection changes instantly, effortlessly, and perfectly. Your only work, your only task, your only true point of power is to tend to the source. It is to cultivate the inner state that corresponds to the reality you wish to experience. To try and change the world without first changing your consciousness is the definition of insanity. There is an old story of a great and powerful king who ruled a vast and wealthy empire. Yet, for all his power and riches, he was a miserable man, perpetually dissatisfied. He summoned his wisest counselors and declared, "My spirit is restless in this land. There must be, somewhere in this world, a truly happy land. I want you to find it." His emissaries traveled for years to the farthest corners of the known world. They returned with tales of a land in the high mountains where people lived in perfect peace. A land by a sapphire sea where joy was the only currency. A land in a lush valley where abundance grew on every tree. The king, filled with a surge of hope, would mount a grand expedition to the first of these lands. He arrived in the peaceful mountain kingdom, but his own impatience and demanding nature quickly sowed discord among the tranquil inhabitants. He found their peace to be boring, their contentment to be laziness. He left in disgust. He then traveled to the joyful land by the sea. But his own suspicious and cynical heart could not accept the people's open happiness. He saw their joy as foolishness, their generosity as a trick. He left in a cloud of anger. The same pattern repeated in the Valley of Abundance, where his own inner feeling of lack made the endless bounty feel meaningless. After years of fruitless searching, a defeated and aged king sat by a dusty road. When an old hermit approached him, the king recounted his tale of searching for the happy land. The hermit listened patiently, and then said, "Your Majesty, you have traveled the world, but you have never left your own mind. You carry your misery with you like a royal cloak. And so every land you visit becomes a miserable one. A happy land cannot be found on a map. Sire, it must be built within your own heart. Cultivate joy and peace within yourself, and you will find that even the dusty stones of your own castle are the foundations of the happiest land in the world." The king finally understood. The world was never the problem. His kingdom was never the problem. The reflection was not the issue. The source was. This is not a New Age philosophy. It is perennial wisdom, woven into the fabric of our most ancient spiritual traditions. The Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus, a foundational text of Western esotericism, states it plainly. The entire practice of alchemy was not about literally turning lead into gold, but was a metaphor for the transformation of the alchemist's own consciousness from a base state lead of fear and ignorance to an enlightened state gold of love and wisdom, with the understanding that this inner transformation would inevitably precipitate a corresponding transformation in their outer world. In the East, the law of karma is often misinterpreted as a cosmic system of reward and punishment. In its purest form, it is simply the law of the mirror. Your actions, which are always preceded by thoughts and intentions, create an energetic cause. The conditions of your life are the inevitable effect. It is a neutral, mechanical process. The universe does not care if you are a good or bad person. It only reflects the sum total of your inner state of being. Therefore, your first act of true power is to stop looking outside of yourself for answers or for blame. The world is not happening to you. It is happening from you. Take a moment, right now, to conduct an honest inventory. Look at the primary areas of your life that cause you distress. Is it your finances? If so, look away from the bank statements and look within. Search for the subtle, persistent hum of scarcity. Can you feel the vibration of not enough? Can you detect the deep-seated belief that money is hard to come by, or that you are not worthy of wealth? That is the source of the reflection. Is it your relationships? Look away from the person who disappoints you and look within. Can you find the assumption that you will be abandoned? Can you detect the belief that you must earn love, or that you are not truly seen or heard? That is the blueprint you have given the actors in your life's play. Is it your health? Look away from the diagnosis and look within. Can you identify the chronic stress, the unresolved anger, the self-criticism that you hold in your body? That is the energetic signature that the cells of your body are responding to. This is not about blame. It is about liberation. It is about realizing that if you are the source of an unwanted reflection, you also hold the absolute power to change it. This principle is simple, direct, and unshakable. The universe is a mirror. Reality is an echo. Your life is a reflection. But this profound truth immediately gives rise to a critical question. If this is true, why doesn't it feel that way? Why do we feel so small, so separate, so at the mercy of a world that feels vast, solid, and utterly outside of our control? If we are the ones casting the reflection, why do we feel trapped inside of it? The answer lies in the most powerful and pervasive spell ever cast upon human consciousness. A spell so convincing that we have forgotten it is a spell at all. We must now turn our attention to shattering this great and fundamental illusion. The illusion of separation. The first great truth, that the universe is your mirror, can only be fully understood when we confront the second, the great illusion that holds humanity in its grip. This is the illusion of separation. Look at your hands. Feel the air on your skin. You experience yourself as a being contained within a body. A single, skin-encapsulated ego, looking out through your eyes at a world that is fundamentally not you. There is me in here, and there is the vast, sprawling universe out there. This feeling, this deep, instinctual conviction of being separate, is the source of all fear, all conflict, and all lack. It is the foundational hypnosis under which we all live. The silent assumption that governs our every interaction, and it is entirely, completely, and profoundly untrue. You are not a solitary island in the cosmic sea. You are not a stranger in a foreign land. The very consciousness that animates you, the intelligence that allows you to think these thoughts and feel these feelings, is the very same consciousness that animates the stars, that guides the orbit of planets, and that blossoms in the heart of a flower. There is only one mind, one consciousness, one infinite intelligence in all of existence. The traditions of the world have given it many names: God, Brahman, the Tao, the quantum field, the One. The name is irrelevant. The truth is what matters. Your individual mind, the one you think of as you, is not a generator of consciousness. It is a receiver. It is a unique and precious terminal connected to the cosmic internet of the one mind. Your brain does not create awareness any more than a television set creates the broadcast it displays. It is a highly sophisticated biological instrument that receives, filters, and interprets the universal consciousness, allowing it to have a specific, localized experience. You are the universe experiencing itself from a particular point of view. This is why the mystics and sages throughout history have all arrived at the same conclusion: to know yourself is to know God. Because at the deepest level, there is no difference. The awareness within you is the same awareness within all things. The Sufi poet Rumi expressed this with breathtaking beauty when he wrote, "You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." Meditate on this for a moment. A single drop of water, when separated from the sea, is a fragile thing. It is small. Its existence is temporary, and it can be easily evaporated by the sun. This is how we feel when we believe we are separate. We feel small, fragile, and terrified of our own mortality. But what is the essential nature of that drop? It is water. Its chemical composition, its very essence, is identical to the vast ocean from which it came. It contains, within its tiny form, all the properties and potential of the whole. You are that drop. Your physical body, your name, your personal history. These things make up the form of the drop, the temporary boundary that gives you a unique perspective. But your essence, your true self, is the ocean. It is the eternal, boundless, and powerful consciousness of all that is. To identify with the drop is to live in fear. To remember that you are the ocean is to reclaim your omnipotence. There is a powerful parable that illustrates this shift in identity. Imagine a small wave, bubbling and churning on the surface of the great ocean. This little wave is full of anxiety. It looks at the other waves around it, some so much larger, so much more powerful and majestic, and it feels a pang of envy and inadequacy. It looks ahead and sees waves just like itself crashing upon the sandy shore, disappearing into a foamy oblivion. Terror grips the little wave. "My end is coming," it cries. "I am going to be destroyed, to become nothing." It spends its entire, brief existence in a state of competition and fear. One day, in its despair, it cries out, and a deep, calm voice rumbles from the depths of the water beneath it. It is the ocean. "Little one, why do you tremble?" the ocean asks. "Can't you see them?" the wave sputters. "The other waves are so much bigger than me, and soon I will crash upon the shore and be annihilated." The ocean listens with a deep, loving patience, and then it says, You are mistaken. You believe you are a wave. But that is only your temporary form. You have forgotten your true nature. You are not a wave. You are water. You are the ocean. The wave next to you is not your competitor. It is also me. It is also you. And when you crash upon the shore, it is not your death. It is your homecoming. It is the moment you release your limited form and remember the boundless truth of who you are. You can never be destroyed, because you were never just a wave to begin with. In that moment, the wave understands, its fear vanishes, replaced by a profound sense of peace. It still has its form. It still dances upon the surface, but it is no longer afraid, because it has remembered that it is the entire ocean, simply expressing itself for a moment as a wave. You are that wave, and this is your moment to remember that you are the ocean. Even our modern science, though it often resists such spiritual conclusions, provides us with powerful analogies that point toward this interconnected reality. Consider the strange phenomenon of quantum entanglement, what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. When two subatomic particles are linked or entangled, they remain mysteriously connected, no matter how vast the distance separating them. If you measure a property of one particle, its entangled twin will instantaneously adopt a corresponding property, whether it is across the laboratory or across the galaxy. This is not to say that physics has proven spiritual oneness, but it serves as a profound metaphor. It shows us that, at the very foundations of our physical reality, the notion of absolute separation is an illusion. The universe is woven together by invisible threads of connection that defy our classical understanding of space and time. If the very building blocks of matter are so intrinsically linked, how much more so must the consciousness that precedes and animates that matter be an undivided dot, interconnected whole. When you live from the illusion of separation, you sow the seeds of your own suffering. This single, false belief is the root of all the world's pain. If you are separate, then you are vulnerable, a fragile ego alone in a vast and indifferent cosmos. Fear becomes the natural air you breathe. If you are separate, then the resources of the world are finite, and another person's gain must be your loss. Competition, jealousy, and conflict become inevitable strategies for survival. If you are separate from the infinite source of all that is, then you are in a state of perpetual lack. Abundance becomes something out there that you must desperately chase, acquire, and hoard. And finally, the ultimate pain of the ego, of the belief in separation, is a profound and aching loneliness. The feeling of being fundamentally cut off from the web of life. But when you shatter this illusion, when you truly begin to feel and know your oneness with all of life, the entire landscape of your experience transforms. Fear dissolves into a deep and abiding trust. For what is there to be afraid of when you are the universe experiencing itself? How can you be harmed when everyone and everything is a modified version of you? Competition transforms into collaboration and compassion. The success of your neighbor no longer threatens you, it enriches you, because you recognize their joy as your own, their abundance as a reflection of the abundance of the whole. The gnawing sense of lack is replaced by an awareness of infinite abundance. You no longer need to get anything, because you realize you already are everything. You are the source of all supply, and the ache of loneliness is healed by the constant, felt presence of communion. The knowledge that you are intimately connected to every person, every animal, every star in the sky. You are never alone. You are all one. So now we hold the second great truth. You are not a separate fragment lost in the cosmos. You are an integral, inseparable, and essential aspect of the one universal mind, the ocean of being, expressing itself, for a moment, as a wave. This is a liberating place, empowering realization. But it brings us to our next crucial inquiry. If we are all connected, if we are all part of this seamless whole, how do we function within it? How does our individual intention, our personal command, make itself known and get fulfilled by the totality of the one mind. We are part of the system. But how do we operate it? The answer lies in learning the language that this system understands. It is not a language of words or pleas. It is the fundamental language of the cosmos, the very physics of consciousness itself. We must now become fluent in the language of vibration. We have journeyed through two profound truths. First, that the universe is a flawless mirror, reflecting your inner state. Second, that you are not separate from this universe, but an integral part of its one. Unified consciousness. This brings us to the operational center of creation, to the very physics of how you, as a unique point of consciousness within the whole, communicate your desires and intentions. The communication does not happen through words, wishes, or disperate pleas. It happens through the universal, fundamental language of all existence. This language is vibration. Everything is energy. This is a truth known to mystics for millennia and now confirmed by modern physics. The solid chair you are sitting in is not truly solid. It is a dense field of energy. Atoms vibrating at a frequency so slow that it appears solid to our senses. The air you are breathing is energy vibrating at a much higher faster frequency. The light entering your eyes is a still faster vibration. And beyond them all, the fastest, most subtle, and most powerful vibrations in the universe are those of consciousness itself, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs. If everything from a rock to a galaxy to a fleeting desire is simply energy in a state of vibration, then it becomes clear that vibration is the common denominator, the underlying language that connects all things. To command your reality, you must become fluent in this language. Every thought you think is a broadcast. Every emotion you feel is a signal. These are not private, self-contained events that begin and end within the confines of your skull. They are tangible, energetic waves that radiate out from you in all directions, impressing themselves upon the quantum field, upon the one mind we have spoken of. A thought of deep, heartfelt gratitude sends out a powerful, high-frequency wave. A simmering feeling of resentment emits a murky, distorted, low-frequency wave. A flash of pure joy is like a brilliant, coherent laser beam of energy, while a state of chronic depression is like a heavy, dense fog that dampens all frequencies. Think of yourself as a living broadcasting tower, and you are on the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You never stop transmitting. The only question is, what signal are you sending? The universe doesn't hear your words. It feels your broadcast. It senses the frequency you are emitting and, according to the immutable laws of physics, it responds in kind. This response is governed by one of the most important principles you will ever learn, the law of resonance. You may remember this from a science class. If you have two tuning forks of the exact same pitch and you strike one, the other will begin to vibrate and hum. Even if it hasn't been touched, it resonates with the frequency of the first. An opera singer can shatter a crystal glass by finding its precise resonant frequency and holding that note, causing the glass to vibrate so powerfully that its structure fails. The universe operates on this exact same principle. It is a vast field of resonating energy. You do not attract what you want. You do not even attract what you think you deserve. You attract that which you are in resonance with. You attract your vibrational match. The universe is not a moral judge, it is an impartial physicist. If you consistently broadcast the frequency of loneliness, frustration, and disappointment, the universe, by law, must bring you more circumstances, people, and events that resonate with loneliness, frustration, and disappointment. It is simply matching the signal you are sending out. If you learn to consciously and consistently broadcast the frequency of love, abundance, and wholeness, the universe has no choice but to orchestrate a reality that perfectly matches that beautiful song. It has to. Resonance is a law, not a suggestion. Let us make this even clearer with an analogy. Imagine your reality is a magnificent, cosmic radio with an infinite number of stations available. Every possible reality you can imagine is a station, and it is broadcasting right now. There is a joyful, loving relationships FM station. There is a struggling to pay the bills AM station. There's a vibrant health and boundless energy station. And right next to it, a chronic fatigue and annoying pain station. All of these programs, all of these realities, exist simultaneously as vibrational potentials. Now, your personal energetic state, your dominant vibration, is your tuner. It is the dial that determines which station you experience. The great mistake we all make is that we try to listen to the symphony on the abundance station, while our own tuner is rusted and locked firmly onto the frequency of lack FM. We can sit in front of the radio and beg it to play different music. We can yell at it, get angry at it, and complain that it only ever plays songs about struggle. But the radio is only doing its job. It can only play the station it is tuned to. The only way to experience a different reality is to change the station by retuning your own receiver. You must deliberately, consciously, turn the dial of your own being, your own feeling state, to the frequency of the reality you wish to call forth. The program you want is already on the air. You simply have to tune yourself to it. So how do you know what station you are currently tuned to? How can you identify your own vibrational broadcast? In any given moment, the feedback system is elegant, immediate, and foolproof. It is your emotions. Your feelings are your personal, built-in vibrational indicator. They are the needle on your frequency dial. Think of your emotions on a scale. At the very bottom, you have the lowest, densest, and slowest frequencies: despair, powerlessness, fear, grief, and shame. As you move up the scale, the frequency increases through anger, blame, and worry, then into neutrality with states like boredom or contentment. As you continue to move up, the frequencies become higher, faster, and more powerful: hopefulness, optimism, and then into the highest states of being, such as joy, passion, deep love, profound gratitude, and a sense of freedom. How you feel right now, in this moment, is a precise indicator of your point of attraction. That feeling is the frequency you are sending out. It is the station you are tuned to. This is incredibly empowering, because it means you no longer need to guess. You can simply check in with yourself. How do I feel? The answer to that question tells you everything you need to know about what you are currently in the process of creating more of. Your feelings are the universe's way of showing you the blueprint of your future. This is why the common advice of just think positive so often fails. Many people attempt to wallpaper over their negative feelings with a thin layer of positive affirmations. They stand in front of the mirror chanting, "I am wealthy. I am abundant," while their stomach is in knots with the deep, sickening feeling of financial anxiety. They are trying to fool the universe. But the universe cannot be fooled. It doesn't respond to the empty words. It responds to the vibration of the knotted stomach. This is like turning the volume up on the radio that's still tuned to Struggle FM and trying to convince yourself you're hearing a symphony. The underlying frequency, the feeling state, is what governs the law of resonance. You cannot lie about your vibration. Your emotional state is your truth. And it is that truth which is being reflected back to you. The work is not to shout positive words over a negative feeling, but to do the real work of actually changing the feeling itself. How do you begin to consciously change your frequency? It is simpler than you think. You do not need to make a giant leap from despair to joy overnight. You simply need to reach for a slightly better feeling thought, a slightly higher frequency. If you are feeling despair, reaching for anger is actually a step up, vibrationally speaking, because anger has more energy than despair. If you are feeling worried, Reaching for a state of hopefulness is a tangible shift. You can do this by deliberately changing your focus. Put on a piece of music that you know, without fail, always lifts your spirit. Stop what you are doing, close your eyes, and immerse yourself in the detailed memory of a time you felt pure, unadulterated joy. Relive it in your senses until you feel that old feeling bubbling up within you. Or, most powerfully, find something, anything, in your present moment to be genuinely grateful for. It can be the warmth of the sun on your skin, the taste of your coffee, the fact that you are breathing. Gratitude is a vibrational supercharger. It cannot coexist with fear or lack. The simple act of finding one thing to be grateful for can begin to turn the dial of your being to a higher station. We now have the third great truth. The universe is vibrational, and its language is frequency. Your emotions are your guide to the frequency you are broadcasting. By the law of resonance, you can only attract a reality that matches your broadcast. Therefore, to change your reality, you must change your vibration. This understanding is the key to the control room of creation. But it leads us to the next, most practical question of all. If our vibration is the signal, what is the master control that generates and aims that signal? What is the origin point of every frequency you emit? The power source is found in the one tool you have conscious dominion over, the very thing that separates you from all other creatures on this planet. It is the power of your focused thought. We must now move on to explore the anatomy of a true command. We have arrived at the control center, the very source from which your vibrational signal originates. We have established that the universe is a mirror, that you are one with its consciousness, and that it communicates through the language of vibration. Now we must ask, what generates this vibration? What is the instrument upon which you play the song of your reality? The instrument is your mind, and the notes are your thoughts. But not just any thoughts. The average human mind is a chaotic tempest, a whirlwind of some 50 to 70,000 thoughts per day. It is a restless, untamed thing, often compared by the ancient sages to a drunken monkey, stung by a scorpion, leaping frantically from branch to branch. It worries about the future, ruminates on the past, spins fantasies, and entertains fears. This chaotic, scattered mental energy is weak. It sends a signal of pure static into the universe, a noisy, contradictory, and unfocused broadcast that can only, by law, manifest a chaotic, contradictory, and unfocused life experience. To command your reality, you must move beyond this default state. You must learn the difference between idle thinking and a true command. A fleeting thought is a raindrop. A command is a focused, high-pressure jet of water that can carve stone. A command is a thought that has been deliberately chosen, stripped of all contradiction, and held with unwavering focus in the light of your conscious attention. The universe does not, and cannot, respond to every whim that flickers through your mind. If it did, your reality would be an incomprehensible nightmare of half-formed desires and instantly manifested fears. The universe responds to the thoughts that you energize with your focus and saturate with your belief. A command is a declaration. It is a decision. It is a mental blueprint held so clearly and so persistently that it begins to organize the energy of the quantum field around it. It is the act of transforming the random noise of your mind into a single, coherent, powerful frequency. This is the first great act of a conscious creator to tame the drunken monkey, to calm the inner tempest, and to sculpt a single, powerful thought from the raw material of your consciousness. There is a timeless story about the great master sculptor, Michelangelo, when he finished his breathtaking statue of David. A work of such perfection, it seemed divinely inspired. He was asked how he did it. How could he possibly take a cold, lifeless block of Carrara marble and transform it into such a vibrant, living masterpiece? His supposed response reveals the entire secret of creation. He said, I saw the angel in the marble, and I carved until I set him free. This is the perfect metaphor for the power of focused thought. Michelangelo did not begin by randomly chipping away at the stone. He began with a command. He held in his mind's eye a perfectly clear, flawless, and complete image of the David. This mental blueprint was so real, so vivid, that the physical statue was, in a sense, already finished in his consciousness before a single chisel strike. His work was not to create the statue, but to remove everything that was not the statue. He simply carved away the excess marble that was hiding the masterpiece he had already seen. Your consciousness is the sculptor, the unmanifested quantum field, the infinite potential of the universe is your block of marble, your focused thought, your clear, unwavering mental image of your desire fulfilled, is the blueprint of the angel within that marble. Your work is not to force reality to bend to your will. It is to hold your vision with such clarity and conviction that you begin to instinctively carve away all the thoughts, beliefs, and feelings within you that are not in alignment with that vision. As the English philosopher James Allen wrote in his classic work, "As a man thinketh, we are the architects of our own lives, building our character and our circumstances." Thought by thought, an effective command has two essential qualities: clarity and focus. First, let us speak of clarity. Vague désirs produce vague results. Sending a command, like "I want more money," to the universe is like handing a master builder a crumpled napkin with the word house scrawled on it. The builder has no blueprint, no specifications, no vision to work from. What kind of house, how many rooms, what style? The result will be haphazard at best. The universe, like the master builder, requires a clear blueprint. You must get crystal clear on what you truly desire. And this goes beyond mere form. Don't just focus on the $1 million. Focus on the feeling that you believe $1 million will give you. Is it freedom? Is it security? Is it the joy of generosity? Define the essence of your desire. Instead of "I want more money," a powerful command might be, "I am overflowing with a sense of financial freedom and security. Money flows to me easily and abundantly from expected and unexpected sources, allowing me to live generously and without worry." That is a clear blueprint. It gives the universe a precise vibrational pattern to replicate. The second quality is focus, which is simply persistence in thought. Holding a clear image for 30 seconds is a good start. But the true power comes from the ability to return your attention to that fulfilled reality again and again, day after day. This is the discipline of the Creator. It is the ability to hold your focused thought as more real than the facts of your current 3D reality. When a bill arrives in the mail, the untrained mind immediately cancels its command for abundance and defaults to the frequency of fear and lack. The trained mind, the mind of the master, acknowledges the piece of paper, but then deliberately and consciously returns its focus to the inner reality of absolute financial freedom. It holds the blueprint steady in the face of contradictory evidence. This is not delusion, it is supreme faith in the unseen. It is the knowledge that the inner world of thought is the cause, and the outer world of circumstance is merely the effect, an effect that is already in the process of changing to match the new, persistent command. How, then, do we develop this godlike muscle of focus? We begin by becoming the watcher of our own minds. This is the foundational practice of mindfulness. For a moment, simply step back from the stream of your thoughts and observe them. Imagine you are sitting on the bank of a river, and your thoughts are leaves floating by on the current. You don't have to jump into the river and grab every leaf. You don't have to judge them as good or bad thoughts. You simply watch them come, and you watch them go. In doing this, you perform a miracle. You create a space between you, the observer, and the thoughts themselves. In that space, you discover a profound truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the silent, peaceful awareness behind your thoughts. This realization is the beginning of all mastery. For if you are not your thoughts, Then you are free to choose which thoughts you energize with your attention and which you simply allow to float on by. If mindfulness is the act of observation, then meditation is the formal training ground for focus. It is the gymnasium where you strengthen your attention muscle. Demystify it for yourself right now. Meditation is not about forcing your mind to be empty. It is simply the practice of resting your attention on a single point, perhaps the sensation of your breath entering and leaving your body. Inevitably, the drunken monkey mind will wander off. It will start thinking about your to-do list, or an old conversation, or what to have for dinner. The moment you realize your mind has wandered, you have already succeeded. The practice is not in never wandering. The practice is in the gentle, firm, and non-judgmental act of returning. Each time you notice your mind has strayed and you gently guide it back to your breath. You have just completed one repetition, one mental push-up. You are strengthening your ability to choose your focus. A mind that has practiced this daily becomes powerful. It becomes a tool that you wield. Rather than a master that tyrannizes you, it develops the capacity to hold a command, a single, chosen thought, with the unwavering stability of a mountain. So we now understand the anatomy of a command. It is born of a mind that has been trained to be still. It is sculpted with the chisel of clarity and held firm by the power of sustained focus. You, the conscious creator, are the sculptor. Your focused thought is the divine blueprint for the masterpiece you intend to manifest from the unformed substance of the universe. But a blueprint, no matter how perfect, is a static thing. It is a plan without power, a design without dynamism. It is a cold architectural drawing waiting for a construction crew to bring this blueprint to life, to pour the foundation and raise the walls of your new reality. You need an energy source. You need the propulsive force that transforms a thought into a thing. You need fuel, this rocket fuel of creation, the force that ignites the blueprint and launches it into the heart of the universe. Is the formidable power of your emotion. If thought is the architect's blueprint, then emotion is the construction crew. If thought is the carefully plotted map, then emotion is the wind that fills the sails. You can have the most perfect, detailed, and flawless blueprint for a skyscraper. But if no materials are delivered and no workers show up, it will remain a piece of paper forever. You can have the most accurate map to a hidden treasure, but if your ship has no wind, it will sit motionless in the harbor. This is the great missing piece for so many who have tried and failed to consciously create their reality. They spend hours perfecting the blueprint, crafting affirmations, creating vision boards, holding mental images, yet they do so with a heart that is empty. Or worse, a heart that is filled with the contradictory feelings of doubt, longing, and fear. Thought without emotion is a sterile command. It is a car with no engine, a bow with no arrow. It is the form of creation without the power of creation. The universe does not respond to your beautiful blueprints alone. It responds to the energy you infuse them with. That energy is emotion. Let us use the analogy of a rocket. Your focused thought is the sophisticated guidance system. It is the onboard computer, meticulously programmed with the exact coordinates of your destination, the loving relationship, the successful business, the vibrant health. The guidance system is absolutely essential. Without it, the rocket would fly aimlessly or explode on the launch pad. It provides the structure, the direction, the what and the where, but the guidance system, on its own, has zero power to move the rocket an inch. It is the emotion that acts as the rocket fuel. It is the massive, explosive, propulsive force in the engines. It is the raw power that generates thrust, the energy that defies the immense gravitational pull of your current reality, and that launches your intention into the quantum field. When you combine a vague thought with a powerful emotion, you create an unguided missile. It has plenty of power, but it creates chaos because it has no clear direction. When you combine a clear, focused thought with weak or contradictory emotion, You have a rocket with a perfect guidance system, but empty fuel tanks. It will sit on the launch pad, looking impressive, but ultimately going nowhere. The magic of manifestation, the alchemy of creation, happens in the sacred union of these two forces, a crystal-clear blueprint held in the mind, ignited by the explosive, congruent power of an elevated emotion held in the body. This is because the universe, and more importantly, your own subconscious mind, do not primarily speak your native tongue. They do not operate on the logic of English, Spanish, or Mandarin. Their native language is the language of feeling. Feeling is the universal tongue. You can stand in front of a mirror and repeat the words, "I am confident and powerful," 1,000 times. But if your shoulders are slumped, your breathing is shallow, and your stomach is churning with the familiar feeling of anxiety, what language are you truly speaking? Your words say confidence, but your body, your energy field, your very being is screaming anxiety. The universe does not listen to the lie of your words. It responds to the truth of your vibration. And that truth is always revealed in your feeling state. To think about wealth is to observe it as something separate from you. It keeps it at arm's length. But to feel wealthy, to generate the feeling of ease, freedom, security, and generosity within your own body, is to speak the language of creation. It is to become a vibrational match to wealth itself. You are no longer asking for it. You are embodying it. You are no longer chasing the reflection in the mirror. You are becoming the person who casts that reflection naturally. Consider the inner world of an elite athlete preparing for a championship event. The amateur visualizes crossing the finish line first. That is a good start. But it is only the blueprint. The master, the champion, goes infinitely deeper. In the quiet moments before the competition, she closes her eyes. She sees the finish line. Yes, but then she invokes the full sensory and emotional reality of that moment. She feels the burning sensation in her lungs giving way to a final, victorious surge of adrenaline. She hears the deafening roar of the crowd, not as a distant thought, but as a physical vibration in her bones. She feels the texture of the ribbon breaking across her chest. And most critically, she opens the floodgates of her heart and allows the pure, unadulterated emotion of triumph to pour through her entire body. It is a potent cocktail of elation, relief, gratitude, and vindication. She feels it all. Now, she does not hope to feel it later. She generates the feeling in the present moment. In doing so, she is calibrating her entire being, her nervous system, her cellular structure, of her electromagnetic field, to the precise frequency of victory. She is becoming a powerful magnet for that outcome, pulling it from the realm of potential into the realm of her physical experience. She marries the what, the thought of winning, with the power, the feeling of winning. This is not just spiritual poetry. It is beginning to be understood by our own science. The HeartMath Institute in California has conducted groundbreaking research showing that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field that is up to 5,000 times stronger than the field generated by the brain. When a person is experiencing stressful emotions like anger or frustration, this field becomes chaotic and incoherent. But when a person experiences elevated, heart-centered emotions like genuine love, gratitude, care, or compassion, the heart's field becomes highly coherent. It produces a smooth, orderly, sine wave pattern. This coherent field is the most powerful and effective signal you can broadcast into the universe. When you learn to generate these feelings in your body, you are literally creating a powerful, coherent, magnetic wave that organizes the energy of the quantum field around you. So when the spiritual traditions tell you to open your heart or to act from a place of love, they are giving you precise, technical instructions for how to be a more effective creator. They are telling you how to create a more powerful and coherent signal. So, how do you do this? How do you generate a feeling on command? especially when your current reality seems to warrant the opposite feeling. The first method is to use your own memory. Your body does not know the difference between a real experience and one that is vividly imagined. Close your eyes and journey back to a time in your life when you felt pure, unbridled joy, or deep, unconditional love, or profound peace. Don't just remember it, relive it. See what you saw, hear what you heard, and most importantly, I feel what you felt. Let that old feeling come alive again and flood your body in the present moment. That feeling is real. That vibration is real. You can use it to fuel the blueprint of your new desire. A second method is to act as if your physiology and your emotions are a two-way street. If you feel happy, you smile. But it also works in reverse. If you force yourself to smile, you will begin to feel happier. How would you be breathing if your desire were already a fact? You would likely be breathing deeply and calmly. So, start breathing that way now. How would you walk? You would likely walk with your shoulders back and your head held high. So start walking that way now. By adopting the physical posture of the wish fulfilled, you can coax the corresponding emotion into being. Finally, the master key is gratitude. It is impossible to feel genuinely grateful and feel lack at the same time. The two frequencies cannot coexist. Find anything, no matter how small, to be grateful for right now. Hold that feeling in your heart. Let it expand. Then, once you are in that beautiful, coherent state of gratitude, pivot your attention to your desire and feel grateful for it, as though it has already arrived. This is the ultimate creative posture. The effectiveness of your creative practice can be measured with a simple test. After you have finished your visualization, your prayer, your mental rehearsal, how do you feel? Do you feel a sense of peace, a quiet knowing, a gentle relief? If the answer is yes, then your work is done. You have successfully fired the rocket. You have sent a clear, powerful, and coherent signal, and you can now go about your day in the trust that it has been received. If, however, you finish and feel a sense of longing and of sadness that your desire isn't here yet, or a renewed anxiety about its absence, then you have not been creating. You have been using the image of your desire to amplify the feeling of lack. You have inadvertently fueled the rocket of your current reality. The goal is to finish your inner work feeling better, more whole, more peaceful than when you began. That feeling is the confirmation that your command has been sent. The blueprint of thought gives your creation its form. The rocket fuel of emotion gives your creation its power. When these two are in perfect alignment, a clear thought held in the mind and the corresponding elevated emotion felt in the heart, you become a unified, unstoppable creative force. This is the sacred marriage of mind and body, of electricity and magnetism, of heaven and earth, all taking place within the temple of your own being. It seems like the perfect formula, but this leads to one of the most vital and perplexing questions on this journey. Many have sworn they have done this. They have held the clear thought. They have felt the powerful emotion. They have done everything right, only to see their desires remain stubbornly out of reach. Why does the formula sometimes fail? It is because there is one more player in this game. A hidden entity who holds the final authority. A powerful gatekeeper who can veto your most passionate commands without you even knowing it. To truly become the master of your reality, we must now turn and face this silent, powerful architect. We must understand the nature of your own subconscious mind. We have arrived at the heart of the great mystery. The reason why your most fervent desires, backed by the clearest thoughts and the most powerful emotions, can still fall upon deaf ears. You have aimed the rocket of your intention perfectly. You have filled its tanks with the high-octane fuel of feeling. And yet, an invisible force holds it shackled to the launch pad. This force, this silent and powerful entity, is the gatekeeper of your reality. It is your subconscious mind. Think of your consciousness as an iceberg. The small tip visible above the water is your conscious mind, the part of you that is reading these words, that sets goals, that worries, that hopes. It represents perhaps 5% of your total mental power. The vast, colossal mass of ice hidden beneath the surface of the water is your subconscious mind. It is the other 95%. It is the seat of your beliefs, your habits, your automatic bodily functions, your memories, and your deepest emotions. Now, who do you think wins in a battle of wills? The tiny, visible tip, or the immense, unseen mass that carries it? Let us use another, more dynamic analogy. Your conscious mind is the captain of a great ship. The captain stands on the bridge, looking at the maps and charts, deciding upon a new and wonderful destination. He wants to sail to the island of abundance. He gives a new command: steer the ship towards those prosperous shores. But the subconscious mind is the entire engine room and its crew. This crew has been trained for decades, since your early childhood, to keep the ship sailing on one specific, familiar route, the well-worn path to the Isle of Lack. The crew in the engine room cannot hear the captain's verbal commands. They don't respond to his wishes or his willpower. They only respond to their training manuals, the deeply ingrained programs and beliefs they have been operating from their entire lives. So while the captain is on the bridge shouting new orders, the loyal and unthinking crew continues to stoke the engines, adjust the rudder, and trim the sails according to the old instructions, keeping the ship locked on its original, miserable course. The captain becomes increasingly frustrated. Why isn't this working? Why won't my ship obey me? He is trying to steer with 5% of the power, while the other 95% is automatically and powerfully steering in the opposite direction. This is the feeling of being stuck, of self-sabotage. It is the war between a conscious desire and a subconscious program. To win this war, you must first understand the nature of your powerful servant. The subconscious mind is not logical. It is literal. It does not reason. It only accepts. As the great writer on this topic, Joseph Murphy, taught, the subconscious is like a bed of fertile soil that will grow any seed you plant in it. Without judgment, it will grow a seed of success or a seed of failure with the same impartial dedication. It functions like a computer's operating system. It does not care if the program you install is a brilliant piece of creative software or a destructive virus. It will execute any code it is given with flawless, robotic precision. Its primary directive is to maintain coherence with its existing programming. It is a safety mechanism. It wants to keep you consistent with what it knows to be true about you and your world. Therefore, when you introduce a new desire that contradicts an old program, the subconscious perceives this as a threat to your identity. As is Timera, its immediate response is to resist the new command in order to protect the integrity of the existing system. The immense difficulty you feel when trying to break a bad habit or think a new thought is the feeling of your subconscious immune system fighting what it perceives as a foreign invader. Imagine your subconscious is a beautiful garden plot. The soil is rich and fertile, capable of growing anything. However, since you were a small child, seeds have been planted in this garden, many of them not by you. Perhaps your parents, struggling with finances, constantly planted seeds of, "We can't afford that," and money doesn't grow on trees. Perhaps a teacher planted a seed of, "You're not very good at math." Perhaps a painful breakup planted a seed of, "Love is dangerous and always ends in heartbreak." Over the years, these seeds have not just sprouted, they have grown into massive, thorny weeds with deep, powerful root systems. They have choked the garden. Now, here you come, as the conscious gardener, holding a tiny, precious seed for a beautiful rose. This seed is your new desire. I am worthy of a loving relationship. You tried to plant this seed, but the soil is already overrun. The deep roots of the old weeds, the beliefs that you are not enough and that love is pain, are hogging all the nutrients and sunlight. the very chemistry of the soil has been altered to support the weeds. To simply throw a new seed onto this choked ground and hope for the best is an act of futility. A true master gardener knows that the real work comes first. You must be willing to get your hands dirty. You must identify the weeds. And then, with patience and persistence, pull them out. Root and all. Only then, in the cleared and prepared soil, will your new seeds have the space and nourishment they need to grow. So where did all these weeds, these limiting programs, come from? The vast majority were installed during the first 7 years of your life. From birth to age 7, a child's brain operates predominantly in a theta brainwave state. This is a state of deep relaxation and receptivity. The same state experienced during hypnosis or deep meditation. A child has not yet developed a critical, analytical conscious mind to filter information. They are like a living recording device, downloading their understanding of the world directly into their subconscious hard drive. They absorb the beliefs, behaviors, and attitudes of their caregivers and their environment as gospel truth. Every time a child heard, "Be quiet. Don't make a fuss," they may have downloaded the program, "My needs are not important." Every time they saw their parents stressed and fighting about money, they may have installed the belief, "Money causes pain and conflict." Every time they felt unseen or unheard, they may have cemented the core belief, "I am not worthy of love." We enter adulthood as walking, talking products of this early programming, completely unaware that these childhood beliefs are silently running our lives, creating our reality from behind the scenes. How, then, do you become the detective of your own mind and uncover these hidden programs? First, follow the trail of your emotional triggers. Notice the people or situations that consistently provoke a strong, disproportionate negative reaction in you. That intense emotional charge is a neon sign pointing directly to a deeply held subconscious belief that has been activated. Second, examine the recurring, unwanted patterns in your life. Do you always find yourself in debt, no matter how much you earn? Do you repeatedly date people who are emotionally unavailable? Look at the pattern and ask the powerful question, what would I have to believe is fundamentally true about myself, about money, or about relationships to keep creating this exact same result over and over again? The answer will be startlingly revealing. Finally, take a pen and paper and complete these sentences with the very first thought that comes to mind, without any censorship. Money is. Love is. Men are. Women are. I am. The world is. The raw, unfiltered answers that leap into your mind are often direct transmissions from your subconscious operating system. Now you can see the conflict with perfect clarity. Your conscious mind, your 5% captain, declares, "I want to be a confident, wealthy, successful entrepreneur." But your subconscious mind, your 95% crew, pulls up its old programming and reads its core beliefs. "I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. Rich people are greedy. It's safer to play small and not be noticed." The result is a complete system lockdown. The subconscious, in its misguided attempt to protect you by keeping you consistent with its beliefs, will engage in sabotage. It will make you feel suddenly tired when you sit down to work. It will fill your mind with 1,000 distractions. It will make you forget an important meeting or stumble over your words during a critical presentation. It is not your enemy. It is a powerful servant blindly following outdated orders. You cannot defeat it with brute force or willpower. You are the ghost in the machine, and you must learn how to rewrite the code of the machine itself. We have now met the gatekeeper. We have stared into the face of the silent architect and understood its immense power and its deeply programmed nature. The task of changing our lives now seems to be the task of reprogramming a supercomputer that has been running on the same software for decades. It might feel daunting, almost impossible. But what if there were a secret access panel? What if there were a way to bypass the firewall of the analytical, conscious mind and speak directly to this powerful servant in the language that it understands? The great mystics and masters of reality discovered such a method. They understood that you don't fight the old program. You render it obsolete by installing a new one. They learned that to change the program, you must change the fundamental assumption upon which that program is built. We must now turn from being a victim of our programming to becoming its author. We must learn the sacred and subtle art of rewriting our inner code. We stand now at the threshold of the control room. We have met the powerful subconscious gatekeeper and understood that it cannot be overpowered by the brute force of our conscious will. To try and batter down the door of the subconscious with affirmations you do not believe is like trying to flatten a mountain with a spoon. It is a futile struggle that only leads to exhaustion and reinforces your sense of powerlessness. The subconscious does not respond to force. It does not yield to desperate shouting. It responds to a different kind of influence entirely. It requires a master key, not a battering ram. It requires a subtle, elegant, and almost magical technique for bypassing the critical mind and impressing a new reality upon its fertile soil. This technique, this master key, is the sacred art of assumption. This profound secret was most clearly and powerfully articulated by the 20th century mystic and spiritual teacher, Neville Goddard. After years of studying the psychological truths hidden within the world's scriptures, Neville distilled the entire mechanism of creation into one simple, earth-shattering principle. To manifest your desire, you must assume the feeling of the wish already fulfilled. Read those words again. Not ask for your wish to be fulfilled. Not hope for your wish to be fulfilled. You must assume the feeling of it being a present fact reality. This is the cornerstone of all conscious creation. It is the master password that grants you access to the subconscious programming. It is the shift from being a beggar, pleading with the universe, to being a master creator, who quietly and confidently claims the reality of their choosing. You stop trying to make it happen, and you simply accept that it has already happened in the higher realms of consciousness. And your only job is to inhabit that new reality within yourself. The power of this principle lies in the language of being itself. Consider the immense vibrational difference between the phrases, "I will be" and "I am." When you declare, "I will be wealthy," or "I will be healthy," you are making a confession of your present state. You are telling the universe, right now, I am not wealthy. Right now, I am not healthy. You are affirming a future event, which by definition, locks it in the future and reinforces your current state of lack. Your subconscious mind hears the underlying truth of your statement, "I am poor. I am sick." But when you dare to assume the state of "I am," you are speaking the language of God, the language of reality itself. I am are the two most creative words in existence. Whatever you attach to "I am," you become. When you declare, in the quiet temple of your own consciousness, "I am wealthy. I am healthy. I am loved," you are not stating a future hope. You are claiming a present fact, reality. You are commanding your subconscious mind to begin reorganizing your world to conform to this new, assumed truth about yourself. You are giving it a new name, a new identity to embody. Let us use the metaphor of a master actor preparing for a monumental role, the role of a king. An amateur actor would simply memorize the lines and put on a costume. A master of the craft does something far deeper. He does not just act like a king, he becomes the king. He begins to assume the state of being a king. He changes his posture, walking with a sense of innate authority and grace, even when he is off the set. He adopts the mindset of royalty, a sense of entitlement and command. He begins to think from the state of being a king, not of the state of being a king. He does not look at a throne and think, "I wish I could sit there." He looks at the throne and assumes it is his rightful place. He inhabits this assumption so completely that the line between the actor and the character begins to dissolve. His subconscious mind, saturated with this new pattern of thought and feeling, accepts the new identity. his entire being begins to radiate the frequency of king. This is the art of assumption. To manifest wealth, you must stop thinking of wealth as something to get. You must assume the state of being wealthy and begin to think from that state. What would your thoughts be like if you were already financially secure? How would you walk? How would you feel? You must inhabit that state until it becomes your natural way of being. This is not just a psychological trick. This is how you actively reprogram your subconscious mind. Your subconscious learns through repetition and, most importantly, through feeling. It does not know the difference between an experience you have in the physical world and an experience you have vividly and feelingly in your imagination. When you consistently and persistently assume the feeling of your wish being fulfilled, you are feeding your subconscious a new emotional diet. You are giving it a steady stream of new evidence. If, night after night, you fall asleep, feeling the profound relief and security of all your debts being paid, your subconscious mind begins to accept this feeling as your new reality. It has no choice but to accept the premise you are giving it. It thinks, this feeling of security must be our new truth. The old program of lack and worry is clearly outdated. I must now begin to operate from this new program of security and ease. The old program is not fought or resisted. It is simply overwritten, like saving a new version of a file on a computer. The old beliefs lose their energy and their power because you are no longer feeding them with your attention and your fear. This is why the art of assumption is infinitely more powerful than the mechanical repetition of affirmations you don't believe. When you stand in front of a mirror looking at a mountain of bills and try to force yourself to say I am rich, an immediate internal war breaks out. Your conscious mind says the words, but your subconscious, looking at the evidence of your senses, immediately screams back, no, you are not. You are lying. Look at the facts. This internal conflict creates a terrible, chaotic vibration. You are simultaneously broadcasting rich and liar, abundance and lack. The result is confusion and, often, a reinforcement of the very lack you are trying to escape. Assumption is a far more elegant and peaceful process. It is a quiet, internal shift. It's not about shouting down your doubts with words. It is about gently and persistently returning to the feeling state of the wish fulfilled. It is a state you inhabit, a new home for your consciousness. You are not trying to convince yourself of anything. You are simply deciding on a new version of reality and living in it within your own imagination until it hardens into fact. You can begin this practice tonight. First, get absolutely clear on the feeling of your wish fulfilled. If your desire was a reality right now, what single emotion would dominate? Would it be relief, joy, freedom, gratitude? Pinpoint that core feeling. Second, construct a short, simple, a static scene that implies your wish is already fulfilled. It is crucial that the scene implies fulfillment. Don't imagine the moment of getting the check in the mail. Imagine the moment after you have paid all your bills and are looking at a zero balance with a feeling of profound relief. Don't imagine the wedding proposal. Imagine a simple moment weeks later, when you are casually touching the wedding ring on your finger, feeling the quiet joy of being married. The scene should be short, sensory, and saturated with the feeling you identified. Finally, in a state of relaxation, just before you drift off to sleep, begin to loop this short scene over and over in your mind's eye. Don't just see it, be in it. Feel the ring on your finger. Feel the relief in your chest. Immerse yourself in the feeling state of the assumption. Repeat the scene until it takes on the tones of reality, and then allow yourself to fall asleep in that state. You are impregnating your subconscious mind with this new truth as you enter the state where it is most receptive. The art of assumption, then, is the master key. It is the subtle, powerful, and elegant method for rewriting the code of your reality. Not by fighting the old, but by embodying the new. You shift your identity from someone who is wanting a thing to someone who has a thing. You are no longer begging the universe for a handout. You are quietly and authoritatively informing it of your new address. but this very art. This profound secret of feeling that you already have what you desire brings us face to face with one of the most difficult and misunderstood paradoxes on the spiritual path. If the entire key is to feel as if you already possess something, what does that say about the very act of wanting it? We must now turn and confront the great spiritual trap that keeps millions of people in a state of constant, desperate striving. A trap built from the very energy of their own desires. We must now explore the great paradox of wanting. We have now arrived at one of the most subtle and yet most critical turning points in the journey of a conscious creator. It is a paradox that can feel like a spiritual catch-22, a divine riddle that has trapped countless seekers in a frustrating loop of near success. The art of assumption teaches us to feel that our wish is already fulfilled. But to even have a wish, you must first desire something you do not currently have. You must want it. We have been taught our entire lives that to achieve anything, we must possess a burning desire. But what if that very act of burning, needy wanting is the cosmic fire that incinerates your dreams before they can ever take root in the physical world? What if the force you believe is pulling your desire toward you is actually the very force that is pushing it away? Understanding this paradox is the key to shifting from a state of desperate striving to a state of graceful allowing. Let us dissect the anatomy of wanting as it is commonly experienced. When you say you want something with a feeling of desperation or longing, what is the energetic truth behind that statement? It is a powerful declaration of absence. It is an acute, painful awareness that you do not have it. The feeling of wanting is a vibrational confession of lack. It is the frequency of a void, an emptiness, a hole in your being that you believe can only be filled by the acquisition of some external thing, person, or circumstance. This vibration of neediness, of craving, of incompletion, is a powerful signal that you are broadcasting to the universe 24 hours a day. And the universe, being the flawless and impartial mirror that it is, I can only do one thing. It must reflect your state of lack back to you by providing you with more experiences of not having the thing you want. Your desperate prayer for your desire is, in fact, an even more powerful affirmation of its absence. Now, let us contrast this with the vibration of having. This is the state we are aiming to achieve through the art of assumption. The feeling of already possessing your desire is one of peace, calm, and wholeness. It is a frequency of fullness, not emptiness. When you truly have something, you are not in a state of desperate, obsessive thought about it. Think of the air you breathe. You have an abundance of it. So you are not consumed with a desperate longing for your next breath. You simply breathe. In a state of relaxed, unconscious trust. You have a heart that is beating in your chest. You do not spend your day anxiously hoping it will continue to beat. You simply live with the quiet knowing that it is. The state of having is a state of being, not seeking. It is a quiet confidence, a gentle satisfaction, a relaxed gratitude. This frequency broadcasts a powerful signal of wholeness and completion to the universe, and the universe, in turn, must reflect back circumstances that match this state of being, often bringing you even more things to be grateful for. There is a timeless story that perfectly illustrates this principle. It is the story of the desperate lover. A man feels a profound loneliness, a deep void in his life, and he decides that what he wants more than anything is a loving partner. He throws himself into the world of dating, but he radiates an energy of intense neediness. On every date, his mind is racing. Is she the one? I hope she likes me. Please, let this finally work out. He tries too hard, laughs too loudly at jokes that are not funny, and agrees with opinions he does not share. This energy of desperation is like a psychic vacuum cleaner, and potential partners feel it as an uncomfortable pressure. They sense he is not interested in them as a person, but as a solution to his own emptiness. Instinctively, they pull away. With each rejection, His feeling of loneliness deepens. His desperation grows. And the cycle repeats. Each failure reinforcing his belief that he is unlovable. Finally, heartbroken and exhausted, he gives up. He decides that he must learn to be happy on his own. He stops dating and starts living. He rediscovers his passion for painting. He joins a hiking club and builds genuine, non-romantic friendships. He learns to cook for himself, to enjoy the silence of his own home, to find fulfillment within himself. He fills his own void. He radiates a new energy now, an energy of quiet confidence, of self-sufficiency, of wholeness. He is no longer a vacuum, he is a beacon. And it is at this point, when he truly no longer needs a partner to be happy, that a wonderful, loving woman effortlessly enters his life, drawn not to his emptiness, but to his magnetic fullness. He had to stop wanting it to finally receive it. This principle is encoded in spiritual texts throughout history, perhaps most famously in the biblical verse, "For to the one who has, more will be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away." On the surface, this can sound like a cruel and unfair decree from a judgmental God, designed to keep the rich rich and the poor poor. But it is not a social or moral judgment at all. It is a perfect, technical description of the law of vibrational physics. The one who has is the one who lives in the consciousness of having. He feels abundant, loved, and whole, regardless of his current bank balance, because he inhabits the state of having. The universe, the great mirror, must give him more experiences that match that state. The one who has not is the one who lives in the consciousness of lack. His mind is constantly focused on what is missing, on his problems, on his emptiness. He inhabits the state of not having. And so the universe, by law, must reflect that state back to him, taking away even the little he has, as his reality conforms to his inner poverty. It is a law of resonance, not of reward or punishment. This is not to say that desire itself is wrong. Desire is the engine of expansion for the entire universe. It is life itself seeking fuller, richer expression through you. An inspired idea to start a new business or create a work of art is a divine impulse. We must learn to distinguish this pure desire from the needy wanting of the ego. A pur désir feels expansive, exciting, and joyful. It comes from a place of fullness, asking, wouldn't it be wonderful to experience this? Needy wanting comes from a place of emptiness, crying, I must have this in order to be whole. I am not okay without it. Your sacred task is to honor the divine inspiration of your pure desire, to cherish the idea and the vision, while at the same time completely releasing the desperate, needy attachment to the outcome. You hold the vision in your mind, but you release the ache from your heart. In practical terms, this means becoming a guardian of your own feeling state. When you catch yourself in the painful throes of longing, when you feel that desperate ache for your desire to manifest, you must recognize it for what it is, a counterproductive prayer. It is an affirmation of lack. In that moment, your work is to stop, to take a breath, and to deliberately shift your focus. Do whatever it takes to find a feeling of wholeness now, without your desire being fulfilled. Put on your favorite song. Go for a walk in nature. Call a friend who makes you laugh. Write down 10 things you are genuinely grateful for in this very moment. You must fill your own cup. You must become the happy, self-fulfilled lover from the story before your beloved arrives. By generating a state of wholeness and peace now, you are turning your dial to the frequency of having, making it possible for your desire to finally find you. We now see the razor's edge we are asked to walk. We must hold the clear blueprint of our desire in our imagination, while simultaneously releasing the painful craving for it from our hearts. We must, in a sense, want it without needing it. The key is the ability to generate the feeling of having even, and especially when our five senses scream that it is absent. To do this consistently requires more than just willpower. It requires a specific technique, a reliable tool for entering this paradoxical state of being. We need a gateway to the subconscious, a sacred chamber where we can impress our assumption most effectively. The ancient masters knew that this gateway opens most easily in the mystical twilight state between wakefulness and sleep. It is now time to learn the practical steps for entering this fertile ground for creation. The state akin to sleep. We have navigated the great paradox of wanting and arrived at a profound understanding. You must feel that you have your desire in order to receive it. You must generate the vibrational state of the wish already fulfilled. But how? How do you generate the feeling of wealth when bills are piling up? How do you feel loved when you are sleeping alone? To do this requires a special tool, a specific technique for bypassing the loud, contradictory evidence of your five senses and accessing the inner sanctum of your subconscious mind. The ancient masters and mystics knew that there are certain moments when the veil between the worlds is thin, when the conscious guard at the gate is drowsy and inattentive. These moments are your golden opportunity for creation. This sacred window, this gateway to the deep mind, is what the teacher Neville Goddard called the state akin to sleep, or SATS. What is this state? It is the familiar, yet magical, territory you pass through every single night on your way to slumber. It is that warm, drowsy state where your thoughts begin to lose their sharp edges and your body feels heavy and relaxed. It is a state of profound receptivity, known to science as the hypnagogic state. A similar state occurs in the morning as you are slowly drifting back into wakefulness. In SATS, your conscious, analytical mind, the part of you that is full of doubt, that argues for your limitations, that constantly points to reality, is off duty. The captain has retired to his quarters for the night. The firewall of logic is down. The guard at the gate of the subconscious is sleepy and his attention is elsewhere. It is in this precise state that you can walk right past the defenses of your conscious mind and plant the seed of your new assumption directly into the fertile, unquestioning soil of your subconscious. The subconscious accepts this new seed without argument, because in this state, it cannot tell the difference between a physical reality and an imagined one that is saturated with feeling. The practice of SATS is an art form, but it can be broken down into clear, practical steps. The first step is preparation, which must be done before you even get into bed. You must define your objective and craft your scene. Know exactly what you want to manifest, and then construct a short, simple mental scene, which implies that your wish has already been fulfilled. This is a critical distinction. You do not imagine the moment you receive your desire. You imagine a moment after it has been received, a moment that confirms it is a done deal. This is because imagining the moment of receiving can still contain the energy of wanting and relief, whereas imagining a moment after it is a settled fact generates the feeling of normal, natural possession. The scene must be short, just a few seconds long, because a short loop is easy to control and repeat in a drowsy state. And most importantly, you must view the scene from a first-person perspective. You are not watching a movie of yourself on a screen. You are the actor. You are looking out through your own eyes, seeing with your own sight, feeling with your own touch. Let us make this tangible with examples. If your desire is to heal from an illness, do not visualize yourself in a hospital bed taking medicine. Instead, craft a scene where you are doing something you could only do if you were perfectly healthy. Perhaps the scene is a friend grabbing your arm and saying with joyful surprise, "You look incredible. I've never seen you so full of life," in your imagination. You must feel the firm, friendly grip on your arm. See the happy expression on their face, and hear those words with your own ears. If your desire is for a new home, do not visualize the real estate agent handing you the keys. Instead, imagine a scene where you are already living there. Perhaps you are standing in your new living room, running your hand along a piece of your own furniture, smelling the unique scent of your new space. and feeling a deep, peaceful sense of, "This is mine. I am home." If your desire is for a specific sum of money, do not visualize the money falling from the sky. Imagine a scene where you are looking at your bank statement after the money has been deposited and has been there for a while. Feel the profound sense of peace and security as you see the stable, healthy balance. Once you have your short, first person, implied, scene crafted, you are ready for the practice itself. As you are lying in bed, ready for sleep, get into a comfortable position. It is often helpful to lie in a position you don't normally fall asleep in, to give yourself a few extra moments before you drift off completely. This is the second step, enter the state. Close your eyes and begin to relax your body. You can do this by taking a few deep breaths, or by mentally scanning your body from your toes to your head, consciously releasing all tension. Allow yourself to drift into that warm, drowsy, comfortable state where you are no longer fully awake. The third step is to begin looping your scene. Once you feel yourself drifting, introduce your short, imaginary action. Replay it in your mind's eye, from the beginning to the end. And then, do it again, and again, and again. Let it become a gentle, continuous loop. The fourth and most crucial step is to animate the scene with feeling and sensory vividness. As you loop the scene, begin to infuse it with life. What do you see? Make the colors more vibrant. What do you hear? Make the sounds clearer. What do you touch? Feel the textures. Most importantly, generate the emotion. Feel the joy, the relief, the gratitude, the peace of the scene, as if it were happening right now. The goal is to make the imaginary act so real, so vivid, that it takes on the tones of reality. You must feel it so completely that you momentarily forget you are lying in bed in your current reality. Neville Goddard told a now famous story that perfectly illustrates this technique. A story he recounts in his book, Feeling is the Secret. A young woman in New York City desperately wanted to spend the winter in Barbados, but she was broke and had no way of getting there. Neville gave her these precise instructions. Tonight, as you go to sleep in your apartment in New York, assume in your imagination that you are sleeping in your family's home in Barbados. He told her not to just see the room, but to be there. He instructed her to feel the specific texture of the furniture, to feel the warm Caribbean breeze on her skin instead of the cold New York draft, to smell the scent of the sea, to hear the sound of the palm trees outside her window. Every night, the young woman faithfully followed these instructions. She would fall asleep, not as a woman in New York wanting to go to Barbados, but as a woman who was already in Barbados. A few weeks later, an entirely unexpected letter arrived from her brother, who lived in Barbados. Inside was a plane ticket and an invitation to come and spend the winter with their family. She had successfully used SATs to impress her subconscious with the reality of her desire, and the universe had rearranged itself to make it so. Do not be discouraged if you find your mind wandering, or if you fall asleep too quickly at first. This is a practice, an art form. If you fall asleep in the middle of your imaginary act, you have succeeded wonderfully, for you have carried your assumption with you into the deep, where it can take root. If your mind wanders to the worries of the day, do not fight it. Simply acknowledge the thought. Let it go, and gently, patiently, return your attention to your scene. The power is in the gentle persistence, not in forceful effort. The state akin to sleep is your sacred nightly ritual. It is the laboratory of the mind where you sow. The master creator. Impress the blueprint of your desire upon the receptive, powerful substance of your subconscious mind. It is the holy act of planting your chosen seed in the most fertile soil imaginable. But as any wise gardener understands, planting the seed is only the first part of the process. That seed, once planted in the darkness, must be tended to and protected during the bright light of day. Your creative work does not end when you open your eyes in the morning. In fact, a new and equally important discipline begins. You must now learn how to protect that newly planted seed from the weeds of doubt and the harsh weather of your old reality. You must learn the critical discipline that Neville Goddard called living in the end. We have descended into the sacred chamber of the mind, into the state akin to sleep, to plant the seed of our desire in the fertile, receptive soil of the subconscious. This nightly ritual is the act of divine conception. The moment the blueprint of your focused thought is impregnated with the life-giving energy of your emotion, you may awaken from such a session with a profound sense of peace. A quiet, inner knowing that something has shifted. But the act of conception is not the birth. The planting of the seed is not the harvest. Your work, your most crucial and challenging work, begins the moment you open your eyes and the 3D world rushes in to reclaim your attention. The blare of the alarm clock, the number in your bank account, the reflection in the mirror, all of these things are messengers from your old reality. And they will shout, scream, and argue to convince you that your nighttime ritual was just a pleasant dream, to bring your creation from the darkness of the unseen into the light of the seen. You must master the discipline of gestation. You must learn to live, not in your current reality, but in the reality of your fulfilled desire. You must learn the art of living in the end. Imagine you are a wise farmer. You have carefully selected a precious, potent seed, and you have planted it in the most fertile soil you could find. Now, what is your work? Do you return to the spot every hour with a spade? Dig up the seed to check if it has sprouted. Examine it for signs of growth, and then anxiously rebury it? Of course not. To do so would be an act of madness. It would violate the seed, expose it to harsh conditions it is not ready for, and guarantee its death. A wise farmer trusts the unseen process. After planting the seed, his job is to water the ground, to protect it from weeds, and to act with the calm, confident assurance that the laws of nature are at work and the harvest is inevitable. Your Sat session is the planting of the seed. Your waking day is the period of germination. To spend your day worrying, doubting, looking for external signs, or complaining about the absence of your desire is the equivalent of digging up that seed every hour. It is an act of spiritual sabotage born of fear and a lack of faith. Living in the end is the discipline of protecting that seed. It is the act of watering it with your continued faith, protecting it from the weeds of negative thought, and walking through your day with the calm, quiet confidence of a farmer who knows the harvest is already on its way. This daily discipline is what Neville Goddard called a mental diet. It is a concept as simple and as powerful as a physical diet. If your doctor told you to avoid sugar to heal your body, you would not congratulate yourself for eating a sugar-free breakfast and then spend the rest of the day consuming candy and soda. You would understand that consistent discipline is required for the healing to occur. In the same way, if you wish to create a reality of abundance and joy, you cannot perform a 5-minute imaginative act for wealth and then spend the next 16 waking hours consuming a diet of anxious, worried, and impoverished thoughts. A mental diet is the conscious and deliberate refusal to entertain any thought, feeling, or internal conversation that contradicts your wish as an already accomplished fact. It is a declaration of loyalty. You are choosing to be more loyal to the unseen reality within your imagination than you are to the apparent, and often chaotic, reality presented by your senses. This does not mean you will never have a negative thought again. The weeds of your old programming will inevitably try to sprout. A discouraging email will arrive. A fearful thought will surface. An old insecurity will be triggered. In these moments, you are brought to a crucial point of choice. This is the test. This is the moment you prove where your true faith lies. Will you give your power, your attention, and your emotional energy to this shadow from the past, or will you remain faithful to your new, assumed reality? When doubt attacks, you do not fight it. You do not wrestle with it. Fighting a negative thought only gives it more energy. Instead, You employ a powerful technique Neville called revision. Revision is the art of rewriting your past to conform to your desired present. When an unpleasant event occurs, or a negative conversation takes place, you do not let it fester in your mind. At the earliest opportunity, you pause, close your eyes, and go back to that moment in your imagination. But this time, you rewrite the script. You revise the scene to be the scene you wished had happened. You change the angry words to kind ones. You transform the rejection into an acceptance. You turn the bad news into good news. You replay this revised scene over and over with feeling until it feels more real to you than the original event. This is not self-deception. It is a profound act of mental cleansing. You are retroactively neutralizing the negative energetic charge of the event, ensuring that it cannot take root as a new negative belief in your subconscious mind. You are curating your own past for the larger, persistent facts of your current reality, the bills that still exist, the illness that still lingers. You must cultivate the art of sovereign indifference. You do not deny that the bills are on the table. Denial is a form of resistance. Instead, you simply withdraw your emotional investment from them. You look at them, acknowledge them as shadows of a former reality, a reality that is now fading away. And then you calmly and deliberately return your inner focus to the feeling of your wish fulfilled. It is like sitting in a room and knowing the sun is shining brightly outside. Even though the curtains are drawn, you acknowledge the darkness in the room. But you place your faith and your attention on the sun you know is there. You starve the unwanted reality of your attention. And attention is the light by which a reality lives or dies. You mentally shrug your shoulders at the 3D world's evidence and say, "That may be so. But nevertheless, I am living in my desired end." So what does it look like to walk through your day? Living in the end, it is a series of quiet, internal adjustments. When you are making your coffee in the morning, you ask yourself, how would I be feeling right now if my great success was already a settled fact? And then you allow that feeling of quiet satisfaction to permeate your being. When you are driving to work, you ask, what kind of thoughts would I be thinking if my perfect relationship was waiting for me at home? And you begin to think those loving, grateful thoughts now. It is the practice of thinking from the end, not of the end. There is a world of difference. Thinking of the end keeps it separate from you. Thinking from the end means you have collapsed the distance and are embodying it now. You are not faking it. You are not pretending. You are being faithful to a higher reality. Your creative imagination, which is the only true reality. It is a calm, peaceful, internal posture that says to the world, it is done. Living in the end is the essential bridge that connects the world of your imagination to the world of your physical experience. Your nightly SATS practice plants the seed in the fertile darkness of the subconscious, and your daily mental diet waters and protects that seed in the bright, challenging light of the conscious world. These two practices, conception and gestation, form the complete and unstoppable system for creation. It is the unwavering loyalty to your inner vision that compels the outer world to conform. As you begin to truly master this discipline, you will notice something remarkable. The world will start to feel less solid, less fixed, less objective. It will begin to feel more malleable, more responsive, to more like a dream that is shifting and changing based on your inner state. This profound experience naturally gives rise to an even deeper question. What is this stuff that we are shaping? What is this strange, responsive field of energy that obediently conforms to our sustained assumptions? To truly understand the mechanics of our own power, we must now journey into the magnificent, mind-bending intersection of modern physics and ancient mysticism. We must explore the nature of the quantum field of all possibilities, having journeyed deep into the mechanics of the mind, having learned to plant the seed of assumption in the subconscious and protect it with a mental diet. Then now zoom out. We move from the personal to the universal, from the psychological to the cosmological. We have been speaking of shaping our reality. But what is the raw material we are shaping? What is this responsive, intelligent substance that conforms to our sustained belief? To understand this, we must build a bridge between the ancient wisdom of the mystics and the mind-bending discoveries of modern science. We are not going to attempt to prove spirituality with physics. Rather, we will use the profound metaphors of quantum mechanics to illuminate the very nature of the field in which you are a powerful, conscious creator. We must now speak of the quantum field, the infinite field of all possibilities. For centuries, we believed we lived in a universe of solid things, a world of empty space dotted with separate objects. But what quantum physics has revealed is that beneath the illusion of solidity, there is no thing at all. At the subatomic level, everything you perceive is solid: the chair you are sitting on, the walls of the room around you. Your very own body is 99,999% empty space. And this space is not empty. It is a vibrant, shimmering, intelligent field of energy and information. It is a vast, invisible, interconnected web that links everything in the universe. It is the cosmic womb from which all matter, all energy, and all of life is born. This is the quantum field. It is the body of God. It is the mind of the universe. It is the raw, unformed clay from which all realities are sculpted. You are not separate from this field. You are immersed in it. You are a swirling, conscious eddy in this great ocean of potential. Here is where reality becomes stranger and more magical than any fiction. In this quantum realm, before something is observed, it does not exist in a definite state. A particle, like an electron, before it is measured, is not in any single location. Instead, it exists in a state of superposition, which is a state of pure potential. It exists as a wave of probability, simultaneously inhabiting all possible locations and all possible states at once. Now, let us translate this into the language of creation. Every single reality you could ever possibly imagine for yourself exists right now as a wave of probability in the quantum field. The you who is a celebrated, best-selling author exists as a potential. The you who is a world traveler, fluent in 3 languages, exists as a potential. The you who is vibrantly healthy and the you who is chronically ill both exist as waves of probability in this field. It is an infinite menu of possible life experiences, all coexisting simultaneously. In this energetic soup of the cosmos, if all possibilities exist at once, how is one specific reality chosen and experienced? How does a single possibility emerge from this infinite blur of potential? This is where the most mysterious and empowering discovery of quantum physics comes into play. The observer effect. Scientists discovered that the very act of a conscious observer measuring or looking for a particle forces it to collapse out of its wave of infinite possibilities and coalesce into a single, definite particle in a specific location. The act of observation turns potential into reality. Now, let us make the great leap that mystics have known for eons. What if the ultimate observer is consciousness itself? What if your sustained, focused attention, saturated with the feeling of your assumption, is the act of observation that collapses the infinite waves of probability into the specific, localized particle of your life experience? This is precisely the teaching of modern mystics like Dr. Joe Dispenza. You are not just a passive observer of reality. Your observation, your focused consciousness, is the very creative force that selects a reality out of the field of the infinite and commands it into being. Let us use a simpler analogy. Imagine the quantum field is a colossal, universe-sized television screen. This screen, however, is not showing one channel at a time. It is showing an infinite number of channels all at once, all superimposed on top of each other. It is a shimmering, chaotic blur of pure potential light and sound. Channel 583 is the reality where you are living in your dream home by the sea. Channel 942, 111 is the reality where you are struggling with debt. Channel 92 is the reality you perceive as your life right now. All of these channels are broadcasting simultaneously. Right now, your state of being, your combined thought and feeling, your dominant vibration, is the remote control. Your energetic signature is tuned to the frequency of channel 92. And so that is the channel that appears clear and solid to you, while all the others remain a faint, imperceptible blur in the background. To experience a new reality, you do not need to create a new television show from scratch. The show is already written, produced and broadcasting. Your only job is to change the channel. You use the remote control of your consciousness, your SATS practice, your mental deed, your sustained assumption to tune yourself to the frequency of channel 583. As you align your vibration with that new reality, it begins to come into focus, becoming clearer and more solid. While your old reality, channel 92, begins to fade into the background blur. This understanding should fundamentally shift your perspective on creation. You are not a struggling mason, laboring to build the house of your dreams, brick by painful brick. You are the master of a great and infinite estate, simply choosing which fully furnished, magnificent mansion you wish to inhabit today. This is a profound shift from a model of effortful, grinding creation to one of graceful, élégant sélection. Manifestation is not the arduous process of making something new out of nothing. It is the simple act of selecting a reality that already exists as a fully formed potential in the quantum field. The work is not in the building. The work is entirely in the tuning. The work is in aligning your personal energy with the energy of the reality you choose to select. How, then, do you tune your remote control? You do so with the unique electromagnetic signature that is created by your coherent thoughts and emotions. As we have discussed, your focused thoughts create an electrical charge in your brain, and your elevated emotions create a magnetic charge in your heart. When your brain and heart are in coherence, when you are holding a clear intention, thought, and embracing the elevated emotion of that intention already fulfilled feeling, you are broadcasting a powerful, stable, and specific electromagnetic signature into the field. This signature is the frequency you are sending out. It is the code you are punching into the cosmic remote. This frequency then resonates with the identical frequency of one of the infinite potential realities in the quantum field. When your energetic signature perfectly matches the energetic signature of the healthy, wealthy, Yosyu, that potential reality is selected. That wave is collapsed. That channel becomes your experienced reality. You are, quite literally, tuning into the reality of your choice. We can now see ourselves as we truly are conscious observers, standing before an infinite field of pure potential. Armed with the divine technology of thought and emotion, we are selectors, tuners, choosing our preferred reality from an endless cosmic buffet. The channel of your new life, the reality of your fulfilled desire, is already broadcasting. You have done the inner work. You have used your SATS and your mental diet to tune your personal vibration to match its frequency. But there is a final, curious, and absolutely essential part of this process that trips up so many. Once you have calmly and firmly selected the channel on the remote, you must put the remote down. You must trust that the signal has been sent and is being processed. If you keep frantically pushing the buttons, checking every second to see if the channel has changed, and worrying that you did it wrong, you create static and interference that scrambles the signal. Your selection must be followed by a profound act of faith. This brings us to the sacred and often most difficult art of letting go. We must now explore the incredible creative power that is unleashed through the practice of detachment. We have now assembled a powerful set of tools for creation. We have learned to select a reality from the quantum field through focused thought, to energize it with elevated emotion, and to impress it upon the subconscious mind through the sacred ritual of SATS. We have placed our order with the universe, but now we arrive at the most subtle end. For many, the most difficult discipline of all. It is the final act that determines whether your creation will arrive with grace and ease, or whether it will remain locked in the realm of potential, just beyond your reach. It is the sacred art of detachment. It is the profound wisdom of learning to let go. I want you to perform a small experiment. Right now, clench your right hand into a fist. Squeeze it as tightly as you can. Feel the tension in your fingers, the strain in your forearm. This tight, white-knuckled grip is the energy of attachment. It is the energy of force, of control, of fear that what you hold might slip away. It is exhausting to maintain. Now, open your hand. Let your fingers relax and your palm face upward. Feel the immediate release, the sense of ease, of openness, of allowing. This is the energy of detachment. Here is the great paradox of creation: you can only receive with an open hand. As long as your fist is clenched around your desire, as long as you are gripping it with desperate, needy energy, you are energetically blocking the very thing you want from flowing to you. Attachment is the final, most insidious form of resistance. To master this art, we must first make a critical distinction between two words: intention and attachment. Your intention is your what? It is your clear, focused vision of your desire fulfilled. Holding a powerful intention is your sacred duty as a creator. It is the act of keeping your GPS locked onto your destination. It requires focus, clarity, and discipline. Your attachment, on the other hand, is your obsession with the how and the when. It is the constant, anxious questioning. How will it happen? Where will the money come from? What path will it take? When will it finally get here? Your intention is the destination. Your attachment is your frantic attempt to micromanage the journey. Your work is to have a crystal clear, diamond-hard intention, and a completely soft, open, and loose attachment. Think of it as a cosmic division of labor. Your job description in the process of creation is entirely internal. Your role is to choose the reality you wish to experience, to assume the feeling of that reality as a present fact, and to remain loyal to that inner state, regardless of outer appearances. That is the beginning and the end of your work. The universe's job description, or the job of your own deeper, universal intelligence, is to handle everything else. It is the master logistician. Its role is to orchestrate the how. It will move people, arrange circumstances, and create uncanny synchronicities and coincidences to build a perfect path to your destination. Neville Goddard called this the bridge of incidents. This bridge may look strange and illogical to your conscious mind. It may involve events that seem like setbacks or detours. But the infinite intelligence of the universe always sees the shortest, most harmonious path. When you worry about the how, you are stepping out of your role and trying to do the universe's job. It is an act of profound arrogance. It is like telling a master chess player how to move the pieces. It is telling the master architect of all creation that you don't trust its ability to build your reality. Let us use a modern analogy that makes this perfectly clear. Imagine you decide to order a book from a massive online retailer like Amazon. You perform your role perfectly. You go to the website. You search for the exact book you want. This is your clear intention. You add it to your cart. You enter your address and payment information. And you click the Confirm Order button. This is your act of assumption, your SATS ritual. Amomonati. The screen says, "Thank you. Your order is confirmed and on its way." Now, what do? Do you descend into a state of panic? Do you call the Amazon customer service line every 10 minutes, asking if they've found your book in the warehouse yet? Do you try to find the name of the specific delivery driver and call him to give him turn-by-turn directions to your house, insisting he avoid certain streets? Of course not. That would be absurd. You simply let go. You trust the system. You know that a complex and highly efficient process, almost entirely unseen by you, has been set in motion. You go about your day with the calm, confident expectation that in due time, the package will arrive at your door. This calm, trusting expectation after you have placed your order is the exact energy of detachment. You must have as much faith in the cosmic delivery system as you do in Amazon. When you fail to detach, when you remain attached to the outcome, you are broadcasting a powerful vibration of doubt, the energy of worry, control, and micromanagement is a prayer for more things to worry about and more situations that require you to control them. You are sending two contradictory signals into the field. With your desire, you are broadcasting, I am a wealthy, successful person, but with your worry about how it will happen, you are broadcasting, I don't really believe this is possible. So I have to figure it all out myself because the universe can't be trusted. This creates energetic static. Furthermore, your attachment to one specific path severely limits the universe's options. You might be insisting that your abundance must come through a promotion at your current job, while the universe has a far grander plan for you to start your own wildly successful company. A plan that begins with you getting laid off from your current limiting position. Your attachment to the how can blind you to the very miracles that are trying to unfold. It is crucial to understand that detachment is not apathy. It is not indifference. It is not giving up on your desire. Detachment is not the absence of caring. It is the absence of anxiety. It is the release of the desperate need for it to happen in one specific way at one specific time. It is also not an excuse for inaction. Detaching does not mean you sit on your couch all day and do nothing. In fact, true detachment creates the space for the most effective and powerful kind of action, inspired action. Forced action comes from the anxious, attached mind. It feels heavy, stressful, and like a struggle. It's the feeling of I have to make something happen. Inspired action is the result of detachment. It comes as a sudden, clear impulse, an intuitive nudge from your deeper self. It feels light, easy, and obvious. It's the sudden urge to call an old friend, to visit a particular bookstore, or to sign up for a class that seems interesting. These are the threads of the bridge of incidents. Detachment quiets the noisy, anxious mind so you can hear the gentle whispers of inspired action. You can cultivate this sacred art in your daily life. The first step is to simply recognize the feeling of attachment. Learn to notice that familiar tightness in your chest, the churning in your stomach, the frantic, looping thoughts. When you feel it, don't judge yourself. Simply label it, this is attachment. This is the energy of resistance. This awareness alone begins to dissolve its power. Second, arm yourself with a mantra or a conscious declaration. When you feel the anxiety rising, silently repeat to yourself, I have placed my order perfectly. The how is the universe's domain, not mine. I trust the process. Or, more simply, I release this. Third, and most powerfully, immerse yourself in the present moment. The anxious mind lives in the future, worrying about what might or might not happen. The best antidote is to become radically present. Go for a walk and focus only on the feeling of your feet on the ground and the air on your skin. Play with a child or a pet. Get lost in a creative project. When you are fully absorbed in the now, you cannot be anxiously attached to the then. The sacred art of detachment is the ultimate act of spiritual maturity and faith. It is the conscious and deliberate decision to place your order with the infinite, and then to trust the delivery process completely, knowing that the master intelligence that orchestrates galaxies can certainly handle the delivery of your desire. You have clearly defined the what, and you have lovingly surrendered the how, but this act of surrender inevitably raises the final, most persistent and anxiety-inducing question for any creator. What about the when? If we are not to worry about the means, how do we possibly deal with the agonizing passage of time while we wait? We must now turn our attention to confront the great mystery and the great deception of what is often called divine timing. We have learned to place our order with the universe and to release our anxious grip on the how, trusting the infinite intelligence of the cosmos to orchestrate the delivery. But this act of surrender immediately brings us face to face with the most agonizing question that has ever plagued the heart of a human being. When? When will it happen? This is the question that keeps us up at night, that makes us doubt our power, and that causes us to dig up our precious seeds to see if they have sprouted. In our anxiety, we are often met with the well-meaning spiritual platitude, "You must trust in divine timing." But for many, this phrase feels like a dismissal, a hollow comfort that encourages passive waiting and reinforces a sense of powerlessness. Tonight, we are going to shatter this disempowering interpretation. We are going to expose the divine timing deception, not because the concept is false, but because our common understanding of it is one of the greatest obstacles to rapid and graceful manifestation. We experience life through the lens of linear time. We see a past that is gone, a present that is fleeting, and a future that is yet to come. This perception is a necessary tool for functioning in a three-dimensional world. But it is a profound illusion. It is not the fundamental nature of reality. From the perspective of the quantum field, from the viewpoint of the one universal mind, all time exists simultaneously. The past, present, and future are all occurring in an eternal, unending moment of now. The you who is struggling with a problem and the you who has already solved it are not separated by weeks or years of time. They are separated only by vibration. Your desired reality is not something that needs to be laboriously constructed in the future. It exists right now, this very second, as a fully formed vibrational potential in the field. The time it takes to appear in your life is not a measure of cosmic clocks or calendars. It is simply the measure of how long it takes for you to shift your dominant vibration and become a stable, consistent match for the reality you desire. This leads us to a new, powerful, and liberating definition of divine timing. Divine timing is not a predetermined date on some cosmic schedule that you must passively wait to arrive. Divine timing is the precise moment when your personal, dominant state of being becomes a perfect and unwavering vibrational match for the state of your wish fulfilled. The timing is not external. It is entirely internal. It is determined by you, by your faith, by your discipline, by your willingness to inhabit your new reality in your imagination. The universe is always ready. It can deliver your desire in the next heartbeat. It is never the universe that is making you wait. You are the one who is making yourself wait. By taking time to achieve the required inner state of knowing and being, you are the master of the clock. Think of a gardener who plants a mango sapling. He approaches the master of the gardens and asks, "When will this tree bear fruit?" The master does not give him a specific date on the calendar. He does not say, "It will be exactly 3 years from today." Instead, the master describes the necessary conditions. He says, "The tree will bear fruit when the soil has been enriched with the proper nutrients, when it has received a critical amount of sunlight and consistent watering, when its roots have grown deep and strong, and when it has reached a certain stage of biological maturity." The timing is entirely dependent on the conditions being met. So it is with your desires. Your desire will appear in your world not on a specific day, but when the inner conditions have been perfectly met. It will appear when the soil of your subconscious has been cleared of the weeds of doubt, when the sunlight of your elevated emotion has been consistently applied, when the roots of your new assumption have grown deep and unshakable, and when you have reached a state of inner maturity where you no longer desperately need the thing you have asked for. The time it takes is simply the duration you require to create and stabilize these inner conditions. From this perspective, the very act of waiting is exposed as a form of resistance. To be in a state of waiting is to be in a vibrational state of not having. It is a powerful, ongoing confession to the universe that your desire is not here yet. When you are waiting for a package to arrive, you are acutely aware that it is not in your hands. This feeling, this energy of waiting, creates a vibrational gap between you and the reality you desire. The more you wait, the more you long, the more you focus on the absence of your desire. The wider you make this gap, the wider the gap, the longer the perceived time it will take for your manifestation to appear. Because you are actively holding it at a distance with your energy of lack. The moment you are able to completely and utterly close that gap, the moment you fully embody the feeling of the wish fulfilled with such conviction that you forget to wait for it, the time required for its appearance collapses to zero. This means you have the power to collapse time. Time is not a fixed constant. It is a flexible variable that is directly proportional to your vibrational alignment. If time is simply the measure of how long it takes you to achieve the feeling of the wish fulfilled, then you can speed up the process by becoming a master of your inner world. You can collapse time by practicing your sets with such feeling and vividness that you truly convince your subconscious mind that the new reality is already here. You can collapse time by adhering to your mental diet with such unwavering discipline that you give no energy or attention to the old, unwanted reality. The more rapidly and completely you can accept your desire as a present fact in your consciousness, the less time the universe requires to assemble the bridge of incidents to reflect that fact back to you. What we call a miracle is not a violation of the laws of nature. A miracle is simply a natural manifestation where the Creator closed the vibrational gap almost instantaneously. They did not allow for a long period of doubt or waiting. They assumed their desire with such radical faith that its physical appearance was compelled to be swift. You must also understand that your attachment to the when is inextricably linked to your attachment to the how. They are two heads of the same hydra of doubt. When you try to impose a rigid timeline on your desire, it must happen by the end of this month. You are once again stepping out of your role and trying to do the universe's job. You are expressing a fundamental lack of trust, a true state of surrendered faith. Of powerful detachment is a release of both the means and the schedule. It is a profound inner peace that comes from knowing that because you have done your inner work perfectly, the desire must appear. And it will appear in the most perfect way and at the most perfect moment. You are no longer concerned with the details of the delivery, only with the joy of the assumption. Therefore, release yourself from the prison of the clock and the calendar. You are no longer a passive passenger on a train, waiting anxiously for your station to arrive. You are the engineer of the train. The destination appears the moment you fully align your vehicle with its coordinates. You are the master of your own timeline. Because divine timing is your timing. It is the moment you decree your new reality to be true by embodying its feeling so completely that there is no room left for doubt. But as you walk this sacred path of alignment, as you hold your assumption like a secret treasure in a world that has not yet caught up, how do you know you are on the right track? How can you be sure that your inner work is registering in the great beyond the universe? In its infinite grace and intelligence, does not leave you to walk in the dark. As you align your energy, it begins to send you whispers, clues, and confirmations. It leaves a trail of energetic breadcrumbs for you to follow, reassuring you that your command has been heard and your delivery is on its way. We must now learn how to open our eyes and our hearts to recognize and interpret these beautiful, the magical messages, the signs and synchronicities that illuminate our path. You have now stepped into the state of faithful surrender. You have planted your seed in the fertile darkness of the subconscious, and you are tending to it with the quiet discipline of living in the end. You have released your anxious grip on the how and the when. This is a state of profound trust, but it is not a state of blindness. As you begin to truly align your inner world with your desired reality, the universe, in its infinite intelligence and grace, it begins to speak back to you. It does not shout. It whispers. It sends you clues, reassurances, and confirmations that your new command has been heard and that the machinery of creation is turning in your favor. You enter into a silent dialogue with the cosmos, and the language of this dialogue is the magical and mysterious language of signs and synchronicities. The term synchronicity was famously coined by the great Swiss psychologist Carl Jung to describe events that are not causally related, yet seem to be meaningfully connected. It is a coincidence that is so personal, so timely, so perfectly aligned with your inner state, that it strikes you with a feeling of wonder and significance. It is the universe winking at you. A coincidence is seeing two strangers wearing the same red hat on the same day. A synchronicity is desperately wondering if you should take a leap of faith and start your own business. And then opening a book at random to a page that reads, "Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it." Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. It is the bridge between your inner world of thought and the outer world of events. A bridge that seems to defy all logic and probability. These are the energetic breadcrumbs the universe leaves along your path, letting you know you are heading in the right direction. These signs can appear in countless forms, but there are common patterns that many people on this path begin to notice. One of the most frequent is the appearance of repeating number sequences, seeing 1111, 222, 333, or 444 on clocks, license plates, and receipts. While many traditions assign specific meanings to these numbers, it is often more helpful to view them as a general hello from the universe. They are like a gentle tap on the shoulder, a nod of encouragement, a sign that the veil between your conscious mind and the deeper, patterned intelligence of the universe is thinning. You are beginning to notice the code, the underlying matrix of reality. Another common sign is the appearance of symbolic messengers. You might hold a specific animal, like a hawk or a butterfly, as a personal symbol of freedom, and then suddenly begin seeing them everywhere after making a decision to leave a restrictive job. You may set your heart on a specific model of car, and then see that exact car, in your desired color, 3 times in a single day. The universe is using the symbols from your own mind to reflect your new focus back to you. Signs also frequently appear through media and conversations. You might be wrestling with a problem, and a song will come on the radio, whose lyrics contain the perfect answer. You may overhear a snippet of a stranger's conversation that speaks directly to your situation. These are not accidents. They are orchestrated echoes of your own shifting consciousness. Let us imagine the story of a woman named Sarah. Sarah has a stable but soul-crushing job as an accountant. Her secret passion has always been gardening and landscape design. After discovering these principles, she begins to use her SATs practice every night to assume the feeling of being a successful, in-demand landscape designer. She feels the warm sun on her back as she works in a client's beautiful garden. She feels the satisfaction of seeing her creative vision come to life. And she feels the joy of receiving a grateful payment for work she loves. During the day, she practices living in the end, refusing to indulge in thoughts of her current job's misery. Then, the synchronicities begin. First, she starts noticing articles in magazines and segments on television about people who successfully changed careers midlife. Then, while at a friend's party, a woman she has never met before strikes up a conversation and mentions that her sister runs a small but thriving landscape design business. Complaining that she is so busy, she desperately needs help. A few days later, while walking through a park, she stumbles upon a community bulletin board with a small, handwritten ad for a weekend course on advanced horticultural techniques. Each of these events, taken alone, is a coincidence, but together, they form a clear and unmistakable trail of breadcrumbs. They are the bridge of incidents appearing in her reality, guiding her and confirming that her new assumption is taking root. It is absolutely crucial, however, that you learn to interpret these signs correctly. The most common mistake is to begin desperately looking for signs. If you are constantly scanning the world for a sign that your desire is coming, you are operating from a place of doubt and lack. You are essentially telling the universe, "I don't really trust that my inner work is enough, so I need you to show me some external proof." This needy energy can actually halt the very process you are trying to confirm. Signs appear most frequently and clearly when you are not looking for them. When you are in a state of trust, detachment, and presence, they are meant to be delightful surprises, not required evidence. Think of them as confirmations, not commands. Your primary guidance system must always be your own inner feeling of knowing. The quiet confidence you cultivate within. The signs are merely the echo of that inner voice. They are the universe affirming, yes, what you are feeling inside is correct. Keep going. This brings us to the danger of superstition. You must not give your power away to external signs. If you decide that you will only believe your manifestation is coming if you see a certain number sequence or a specific symbol, you have made your faith conditional. Your faith is now in the clock or in a bird, not in your own creative power as a child of God. The universe is a mirror of your beliefs. If you believe seeing a black cat is bad luck, you will manifest negative experiences to validate that belief. If you believe seeing a dragonfly is a sign of good fortune, you will manifest positive experiences to validate that belief. The power is never in the sign itself. The power is always, and only, in your own consciousness and the meaning you assign to things. The signs follow your state of being. Your state of being should never be dependent on the signs. With all this talk of external clues and cosmic winks, it is easy to forget the most important and reliable sign of all. The greatest sign that your desire is on its way, that your assumption has hardened into fact, is an internal one. It is the feeling of peace. It is the absence of anxiety. It is the moment you realize you haven't thought about your desire in a while. Not because you've given up, but because the desperate longing has been replaced by a calm, settled knowing. When you can think of your desire and feel no energetic charge, no painful ache of absence, but only a gentle sense of satisfaction, as if remembering a pleasant memory, then you know it is done. This inner peace is the pearl of great price. All the external synchronicities are just the beautiful, shimmering reflections on the surface of this deep inner stillness. As you become more attuned to this beautiful dialogue with the universe, you will inevitably notice just how often the universe chooses to speak to you through other people. A friend offers a piece of advice out of the blue that solves your entire problem. A stranger in a coffee shop makes a comment that shifts your whole perspective. An unexpected email from a former colleague opens a door you never knew existed. The bridge of incidents is almost always built with the help of others. This begs a deeper, more profound, and perhaps more challenging question about the nature of the other people in our reality. If the entire world is a mirror of our own consciousness, what does that mean for the nearly 8 billion other souls walking this planet? Are they truly separate individuals with their own independent will? Or are they, in a way we can barely comprehend, also playing a role in the grand drama that is being directed by our own consciousness? To take the next step in mastering our reality, we must be brave enough to explore one of the most radical and liberating principles of creation, the idea that everyone is you pushed out. We have now arrived at the final frontier of creative power, the most profound, challenging, and ultimately liberating principle you will ever encounter on this path. This is the concept that separates those who influence their reality from those who become absolute masters of it. I ask you to approach this teaching with an open mind and a courageous heart, for it will challenge the very foundations of how you perceive yourself and your relationship with every other person on this planet. This is the principle that Neville Goddard called, "Everyone is you pushed out." Stated simply, it means that every person in your life, from your most intimate partner to the stranger who serves you coffee, is not acting independently, but is rather playing a role that you have unconsciously assigned to them through your deepest assumptions about yourself and others. They are externalized, three-dimensional projections of your own consciousness. Let us break down what this means. To say someone is you pushed out means their behavior, their attitude towards you, their words, and their actions are a direct mirror, a perfect reflection of a belief or assumption that lives within you. If you walk through the world with a deep, core assumption that you are uninteresting or unimportant, you will consistently meet people who ignore you, talk over you, or treat your opinions with indifference. They are simply playing the part of the one who ignores. a role necessitated by your inner script of I am one who is ignored. If you harbor a secret belief that people will eventually betray you, you will find yourself attracting friends and partners who, despite their best initial intentions, ultimately let you down, fulfilling the prophecy you wrote for them. This does not mean they are not real, conscious beings in their own right. They are, but in the theater of your reality, they have been handed a script, and they are compelled by the laws of consciousness to play the part you have assigned them. Imagine your life as a grand and intricate stage play. Your consciousness is the sole author, director, and producer of this play. The script has been written by the sum total of your beliefs and assumptions, many of which are subconscious. Every person who enters your life is a brilliant actor who has been cast in a specific role. The person who plays your difficult, critical boss has been cast perfectly for that part because you hold an underlying assumption about authority or about your own worth in a professional setting. The person who plays your loving, supportive partner has been cast because you hold an assumption of being worthy and deserving of love. The actors are not at fault. They are delivering their lines and performing their actions with flawless accuracy according to the script you have provided. When you are unhappy with a person's behavior, your instinct is to leap onto the stage and argue with the actor. You try to reason with them, to convince them, to force them to change their lines. But the actor is confused. They are only doing what the script says. The only way to change the actor's performance is for you, the director, to go backstage into the quiet workshop of your own mind and rewrite the script. Let us tell the story of a woman who was deeply unhappy in her marriage. She constantly complained to her friends that her husband was cold, unromantic, and unaffectionate. He never compliments me, she would say. He never brings me flowers. He never shows me he cares. She had tried everything, arguing, pleading, giving him the silent treatment, but nothing worked. His behavior remained stubbornly the same. After learning this principle, and she had a startling realization, she was the one holding the persistent assumption. My husband is an unromantic man. This was the role she had cast him in. She decided to stop trying to change the actor and instead to rewrite the script. She stopped complaining about him, both outwardly and inwardly. Every night, in the state akin to sleep, she began to imagine a short, simple scene. Her husband walking through the door, handing her a single, beautiful rose, and telling her how much he loved her. She didn't just see it, she felt it. She felt the softness of the petals. She smelled its fragrance. And she allowed the feeling of being cherished and adored to flood her heart. During the day, whenever he acted in his old, familiar, unaffectionate way, she would inwardly ignore it, dismissing it as a shadow from the past. And she would gently return her mind to the feeling of that imaginary rose. A few weeks passed, then one evening, her husband came home from work and, with a slightly shy expression, handed her a single red rose. He explained that he had walked past a flower shop on his way home and, on a sudden, unexplainable whim, felt he had to get it for her. He did not know why. He was simply, and perfectly, playing the new role she had assigned him. He had no choice but to conform to her sustained new assumption. This principle reveals the complete futility of trying to change another person through external force. Every argument, every attempt at persuasion, every manipulation is a waste of your precious creative energy. It is like shouting at your own reflection in the mirror, demanding it to smile while you continue to frown. The reflection has no will of its own. It can only show you what you are. To change another, you must change yourself. You must change the assumption you hold about them. The entire transformation takes place within your own imagination. You stop replaying the old again, painful stories of how they have wronged you, and you begin to have new, loving, internal conversations with them. You revise past arguments into harmonious agreements. You imagine them saying the things you long to hear and doing the things you long for them to do. You saturate these imaginary scenes with the feeling of them being real. And you persist in this new mental diet. This is how you apply this in your own life. First, identify the person and the unwanted behavior. Then, ask yourself with brutal honesty, what do I truly believe about this person? Or about myself in relation to this person that would cause them to treat me this way? This is your current assumption. Second, define the new role. How do you wish they would act? What do you wish they would say? Be specific. I wish my mother would approve of my choices. Third, begin to cast them in this new role within your imagination. Stop all internal conversations that reinforce the old story. Instead, have imaginary conversations where your mother is telling you how proud she is of you. Her voice clearly. Feel the warmth and relief of her approval. Persist in this inner drama until it feels more real than the outer one. Finally, when you interact with the physical person, remain faithful to your new assumption. Behave toward them as you would if they were already the person you imagined them to be. Do not look for immediate confirmation. Simply know that you have rewritten the script, and the actor must, in time, deliver the new lines. The implications of this principle are staggering. On one hand, it demands a level of radical self-responsibility that can be terrifying. It means you can no longer be a victim. You can no longer blame your unhappiness on your spouse, your boss, your parents, or your friends. You must accept that you are the source, the sole cause of the treatment you receive. This can be a bitter pill to swallow, but on the other hand, it offers you the keys to the kingdom. It is the ultimate liberation. If you are the cause, then you have the power to change it. You are no longer a helpless pawn in a world of difficult people. You are the director of the entire play. You can transform any relationship, heal any rift, and create harmonious interactions with everyone you meet, simply by doing the work within yourself. The principle that everyone is you pushed out is the final key that unlocks a reality of your own design. It places the Creator's scepter firmly and irrevocably in your hand. It dissolves all blame, all resentment, and all victimhood, replacing them with sovereign power and limitless compassion. However, as you begin to consciously wield this incredible power, as you rewrite the scripts of your life and command a new reality into being, you will almost certainly encounter friction. The old world, the old self, and the old momentum of your past beliefs will not always go quietly into the night. It will often fight back. It will test your newfound faith. We must now prepare ourselves for this inevitable and final challenge. We must learn how to face and overcome the powerful force of resistance. You have now been entrusted with the most profound secrets of creation. You understand that the universe is your mirror, that you are one with its consciousness, and that your own imagination is the ultimate creative power. You have learned to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled, to impress it upon your subconscious mind, and to live from that end state of being. You hold the director's chair in the theater of your life, understanding that everyone is simply playing the part you have assigned them. A surge of power and possibility is likely flowing through you, but it is on this empowered high ground that you will face your final and most important test. It is the test of resistance, just as you solidify your new state of consciousness. The old world, the old you, and the old momentum will often rise up to challenge you with a final, ferocious roar. This is not a sign that you have failed. It is a sign that you have succeeded. It is the universe asking you one last time. Are you truly serious about this? Do you really believe you are this new person? Or were you just playing a game? This resistance often manifests in a perplexing way. Things can seem to get worse right before they get better. This is what many call the storm before the calm. You assume the state of wealth, and the next day you receive an unexpected, massive bill. You assume the state of perfect health, and you wake up with a new, Strange symptom. You assume the state of a harmonious relationship, and you have the worst argument you've had in years. The untrained mind immediately panics. It's not working, I did it wrong, this is all nonsense. But the wise creator understands what is happening. This is a purge. Imagine your consciousness is a room that has been cluttered for years with junk old beliefs, fears, and insecurities. When you introduce a new, beautiful piece of furniture, your new assumption, it doesn't just magically fit. To make space for it, you must first pull all the old junk out from the corners and from under the bed. For a time, the room will look more chaotic and messy than it did when you started. This is what is happening in your life. Your new, high-frequency assumption is creating a pressure that forces all the contrary, low-frequency beliefs to the surface of your awareness to be seen, acknowledged, and released. This seeming chaos is not a step backward. It is the necessary and positive sign that your inner house is being cleansed. There is a powerful story that perfectly illustrates this principle of unseen growth, followed by a sudden breakthrough: the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. When the seed of this remarkable tree is planted, watered, and fertilized, nothing happens for the first year. There is no visible sign of growth. Nothing happens in the second year, or the third, or the fourth. The farmer must continue to water and care for a patch of empty earth for 4 solid years, having nothing but faith in the unseen potential of the seed. Many would give up, convinced the seed was dead. But during those 4 years, something incredible is happening beneath the surface. The tree is building a vast, powerful, and complex root system, a foundation strong enough to support the immense growth that is to come. Then, in the 5th year, the bamboo tree finally breaks through the ground and explodes upwards, growing to a staggering height of 90 feet in just 6 short weeks. Did the tree grow 90 feet in 6 weeks? No. It grew for 5 years. The visible, explosive growth was only possible because of the long, patient, and entirely unseen period of foundational work. Your inner work, your sats, your mental deed. Your persistent assumption is the 5 years of building your root system. The 3D world is the patch of empty earth that shows no proof of your efforts. The resistance you face is the harsh weather that tests the ground. To give up because you see no immediate outer change is to abandon your bamboo tree in its 4th year, just before the miracle is about to happen. The resistance you face is not only external. Some of the most powerful opposition comes from within. Your ego, your old identity, is comfortable in its familiar reality. Even if it is a miserable one, the misery is at least predictable. Your new, desired reality is unknown, and the ego is terrified of the unknown. As you get closer to your goal, a subconscious fear of success may be triggered. You may have an upper limit problem, a deep belief that says, I only deserve this much happiness, but no more. Or, if I become this successful, people will be jealous of me, or I won't be able to handle the new responsibilities. This can lead to sudden and inexplicable acts of self-sabotage right on the cusp of victory. You must be the compassionate watcher of your own mind, recognizing these fears not as truths, but as the final, desperate arguments of an old identity that knows its time is up. Then there is the external resistance from the people in your life. Remember, they are you pushed out, and for years, you have cast them in roles that supported your old reality. When you change your inner script, it can take them some time to learn their new lines. They may continue to reflect your old beliefs back to you. They may be the voice of reason, telling you to be realistic. They may doubt you or even mock your newfound optimism. It is absolutely crucial that you do not engage in arguments. Do not try to convince or convert them. You cannot explain this deep internal work to someone who has not experienced it. You can only demonstrate it with your results. Keep your sacred work to yourself. When they express doubt, simply smile inwardly, knowing that they are playing their old part beautifully. And that's soon enough. They will be given a new script to read from. Let your success be your only argument. Ultimately, this entire path is a test of loyalty. Where will you place your allegiance? Will you be loyal to the world of Caesar, the world of so-called facts, of sensory evidence, of past results? Or will you be loyal to the kingdom of heaven, the world of your own wonderful human imagination? Your five senses are reporters of the past. They can only show you a world that is the frozen result of your previous thoughts and beliefs. Your imagination, on the other hand, is the portal to the future. It is the creative womb where you are building your reality now. To be a master creator is to deliberately choose to believe the report of your imagination over the report of your senses. It is to look at a bank account that reads zero and remain loyal to the inner reality of abundance. It is to feel a physical symptom and remain loyal to the inner reality of perfect health. This is the biblical definition of faith, the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Your sustained feeling assumption is the evidence. It is the only evidence that matters. When you find yourself in the heart of the storm, when the resistance feels overwhelming, you must have tools to keep your ship steady. First, starve the doubt and feed the faith. When a negative event occurs, and make a conscious choice not to give it your precious emotional energy. Acknowledge it. Revise it in your imagination if you can. And then immediately and deliberately pivot your attention to something that reinforces your new state. Listen to an uplifting song. Read a success story. Go back and relive your sad scene in your mind. Second, and understand that this is the time to double down on your inner work. Not to ease up. The storm before the calm is the final push. Make your imaginative acts more vivid. Your mental diet more strict. This is the final exam. Give it your full attention. Finally, hold the perspective that this too shall pass. See the resistance for what it is, a temporary weather pattern. A series of clouds passing in front of the unchanging sun of your assumption. The sun has not gone anywhere. Your faith is your anchor in the storm, keeping you steady until the clouds inevitably break. Overcoming resistance is the final tempering of your creative power. It is the fire that forges your faith from a flimsy belief into an unbreakable conviction. It is in these very moments of challenge, when every fiber of your being is tested, that you truly step into your mastery. As you learn to navigate these storms, you will discover that one particular state of being is more powerful than any other for dissolving doubt, calming fear, and overriding resistance. It is a state that instantly aligns you with the highest and most powerful frequencies of the universe and makes you a magnet for miracles. We must now turn our attention to the most beautiful and potent currency in all the cosmos, the sacred act of gratitude. We have weathered the storm of resistance, holding fast to our faith in the unseen reality. We have learned that resistance is not a sign of failure, but a sign of the great shift that is occurring within us. As we emerge from this final test, our faith tempered into a quiet, unbreakable knowing. We must learn to inhabit the state of being that is the natural home of all miracles. It is a state so powerful it can dissolve fear, so potent it can override doubt, and so magnetic it can draw our desires to us with breathtaking speed. It is the most beautiful and potent currency of the cosmos. It is the sacred act of gratitude. We must begin by expanding our understanding of this profound force. In our culture, gratitude is often treated as a polite courtesy, a simple thank you that we say after we have received a gift. But this is like confusing a single drop of rain with the power of the entire ocean. True, creative gratitude is not a reaction to what you have received. It is a creative cause that determines what you will receive. It is the language of faith. It is the frequency of reception. It is the spiritual currency you pay in advance for the reality you have chosen. A joyful and confident declaration that you know the delivery is already on its way. The magic of gratitude is twofold. Firstly, gratitude for what you already have is the most powerful amplifier in the universe. Whatever you appreciate, appreciates. Whatever you are grateful for, you will be given more of. The universe, as your perfect mirror, reflects your dominant focus. If you focus on the one friend who is loyal and supportive, and you flood your heart with genuine gratitude for their presence in your life, you are sending a powerful signal to the universe. More of this, please. I love and appreciate harmonious, supportive relationships. The universe must then reflect back more harmony and support, both by deepening that existing friendship and by bringing new, wonderful people into your life. Conversely, if you focus on the money you don't have, you are appreciating your lack, and the universe will dutifully give you more lack to appreciate. But if you can find it within you to be genuinely grateful for the single dollar in your pocket, for its potential, for the security it represents, you are appreciating abundance, and you are opening the floodgates for more to flow to you. Secondly, and this is the practice of the master, is the art of being grateful for what is not yet manifested in your physical reality. This is the ultimate expression of faith. It is the final click of the confirm order button, to be able to say, from the depths of your heart, thank you for my perfect health, while your body still shows symptoms of illness. Or, thank you for my soulmate, while you are still sleeping alone, is to collapse all time and space. It is to close the vibrational gap completely and to stand fully in the reality of your wish fulfilled. You are no longer asking, no longer hoping, no longer waiting. You are acknowledging and receiving. This act of profound gratitude sends a shockwave of coherent, creative energy into the quantum field, leaving the universe with no choice but to rearrange itself to match the truth you have so boldly declared. There is a timeless parable of a man who was down to his very last coin. He held it in his palm. He could have looked at it with despair, seeing it as the undeniable proof of his poverty and failure. Had he done so, his feeling of lack would have guaranteed he would create more lack. But instead, he chose a different path. He looked at that single, humble coin and allowed a wave of genuine gratitude to wash over him. He was grateful for its solid, metallic weight in his hand. He was grateful for the existence of commerce that allowed this small token to be exchanged for a piece of bread. He was grateful for the farmers who grew the wheat and the bakers who baked the bread. He was grateful for his own body's ability to be nourished. This act of sincere appreciation for the little he had completely shifted his vibration from the frequency of poverty to the frequency of abundance. In this new, elevated state, his mind was clear. He noticed things he would have missed in his despair. A notice for a day's labor. An opportunity to help a merchant with a fallen cart. His single coin, amplified by the magic of gratitude, became the seed of his fortune. Such is the law. To learn more about this practice in depth, one can explore the beautiful work of Rhonda Byrne in her book, The Magic, which is a masterclass in the practical application of gratitude. This is not merely a psychological trick. It is an act of energetic physics. As we've discussed, elevated emotions create a powerful and coherent electromagnetic field from your heart. Gratitude is perhaps the most coherent and creative emotion of all, because it is a perfect fusion of thought and feeling. It combines the thought that you have received a gift with the elevated feeling associated with that gift. It is a state of pure, non-resistant reception. When you are truly grateful, it is impossible to be needy or desperate. Gratitude is a signal of fulfillment. It broadcasts a clear, stable, and powerful frequency into the quantum field that communicates, all is well. I am whole. I am provided for. I have received. This signal is like a powerful, resonant homing beacon that draws to you more experiences that match its beautiful, coherent frequency. To harness this power, you must learn to practice gratitude in a way that goes beyond a superficial mental list. Many people will quickly list 5 things they're grateful for: my house, my car, my job, without feeling anything at all. This is like reciting the words of a love poem to a person you do not love. The words are empty because the feeling is absent. To practice true gratitude, try this. Instead of a long, mechanical list, choose just one thing. Perhaps it is your hands. Now, close your eyes and truly consider your hands. Think of everything they allow you to do. They allow you to hold the hand of a loved one, to prepare a meal, to write, to create, to feel the world around you. As you contemplate these things, allow the genuine feeling of appreciation, of wonder, of warmth, to swell in your chest. Breathe into that feeling. Let it expand until it fills your entire body. That feeling is the prayer. That feeling is the creative power. As you cultivate this state, you will discover that gratitude is the ultimate antidote to the resistance we have just discussed. It is impossible to feel fear and gratitude in the same instant. They are mutually exclusive frequencies. The moment fear of the future creeps in, you can deliberately short-circuit it by finding something in your present to be grateful for. Gratitude is also the antidote to doubt. Doubt whispers, "It's not here yet." Gratitude declares with joyful confidence, "Thank you that it is already done." Gratitude for your unseen desire is the ultimate statement of faith, and it will dissolve doubt like the sun dissolves the morning mist. And most obviously, gratitude is the antidote to the feeling of lack. Lack comes from focusing on what is missing. Gratitude forces your attention onto what is present and what is coming, instantly shifting your point of attraction from emptiness to fullness. A wonderful practice to shift your state quickly is to go on what is called a gratitude rampage. Simply look around your environment and begin speaking aloud all the things you are grateful for, no matter how small. I am so grateful for this comfortable chair supporting me. I am so grateful for the light in this room that allows me to see. I am so grateful for the roof over my head. I am grateful for the clean water I can drink. Within minutes, you can feel your entire energetic state lift. To live in a state of perpetual gratitude is to live in a state of perpetual graceful reception. It is to tune your entire being to the master frequency of thank you, to which the universe can only respond with a resounding, "You are welcome." This state of grace is the key that keeps the doors to health, wealth, and love permanently and effortlessly open. As you become more adept at creating and maintaining this beautiful state of being, a natural and practical question will arise. It will come not from a place of anxiety, but from a place of peaceful curiosity. Is this all that is required of me? Do I simply sit in this blissful state of gratitude? Or is there a role for me to play in the physical world? This brings us to the elegant and often misunderstood relationship between being and doing, between surrender and movement. We must now explore the difference between forced, anxious effort and divinely inspired movement. As we delve into the great paradox of action, we have now arrived at the great paradox that lies at the heart of the relationship between consciousness and the physical world. A question that has perplexed seekers for ages. Do I simply sit on my couch and visualize my new life? Or do I have to go out and work for it? Many spiritual teachings seem to suggest that all action is a sign of weak faith, while our pragmatic world screams that nothing is achieved without relentless effort and struggle. The answer, like all great truths, is not a simple yes or no. The answer is more nuanced and infinitely more elegant. Not all action is created equal. To become a master creator, you must learn to distinguish between the clumsy, heavy energy of forced action and the graceful, light energy of inspired action. Let us first dissect the kind of action that most of us are familiar with, the kind our society champions as the only path to success: forced action. Forced action is born from the ego's fear. It springs from the deep, anxious belief that, if I don't make this happen, it will never happen. It is the energy of a person who feels separate from the universe and believes they must single-handedly wrestle their desires into submission. What does forced action feel like? It feels heavy. It feels stressful. It feels like pushing a giant boulder uphill in the mud. It is the salesperson making 100 cold calls with a knot of dread in their stomach. It is the entrepreneur working 18-hour days, fueled by anxiety and the fear of failure. It is the student cramming for an exam all night, their mind buzzing with panic. While such effort can sometimes produce results, those results are often tainted by the struggle itself, and the process is draining and unsustainable. Furthermore, this type of action is often counterproductive to our creative work, because it is saturated with the very vibration we are trying to escape, the vibration of lack, fear, and the belief that what we want is difficult to obtain. Now, let us contrast this with its divine counterpart, inspired action. Inspired action is born from an entirely different source. It does not come from the fearful, analytical ego. It arises naturally and spontaneously from your higher self, from the universal mind, from the subconscious that you have successfully impregnated with your new assumption. It is the logical next step appearing on the bridge of incidents that the universe is building for you. What does inspired action feel like? It feels light. It feels easy. It often feels joyful, and almost always feels effortless. It doesn't feel like work at all. It comes as a sudden, clear idea, a gentle orga, a curious whim, or an intuitive nudge that simply feels right. There is no struggle, no strain, no sense of I have to. It is a gentle I get to. Let us tell the story of a writer who has just completed her first novel. In the first scenario, she operates from a place of fear and doubt. She engages in forced action. She spends her days frantically researching hundreds of literary agents, crafting desperate query letters, and sending her manuscript out into the void. She forces herself to attend networking events that she hates, trying to push her book into the hands of anyone who will listen. Each form rejection she receives deepens her despair, which in turn fuels more frantic, desperate action. The entire process is heavy, draining, and saturated with the energy of I am not a successful author yet. Now, let us imagine the second scenario. The writer finishes her novel and immediately begins to live in the end. She uses her SATs practice to assume the feeling of being a celebrated, respected author. She imagines holding the finished book in her hands, reading a glowing review, or accepting an award. She cultivates the inner feeling of peace, pride, and satisfaction. She detaches from the how and trusts that the universe has received her command. One Tuesday afternoon, while peacefully working on a different project, she gets a sudden, inexplicable urge to visit a small, independent coffee shop in a neighborhood across town that she rarely goes to. The idea makes no logical sense, but it feels light and pleasant. So she follows it. While ordering her coffee, she bumps into an old classmate she hasn't seen in a decade. They catch up, and it turns out he has become a successful literary agent who is actively searching for new, unique voices. He is intrigued by her project and asks to read the manuscript. This single, easy, effortless action following a whim to go to a coffee shop accomplished more than months of her previous forced struggle. That urge was inspired action. It was the universe laying the next plank on her bridge of incidents. These inspired actions are the visible, physical steps on the path that infinite intelligence constructs for you. The universe will not magically teleport a check into your locked safe. It will, however, give you the inspired idea to call a specific person, who will then tell you about a new investment opportunity. The universe will not cause your soulmate to break down your door. It will, however, give you the sudden whim to join a pottery class, where you will then meet the love of your life. The universe works through the physical world, and that requires you to move, to speak, and to act. But it will never, ever require you to struggle. The inspired action is simply you taking the next easy, obvious step on the path that is being illuminated before you. How can you learn to recognize the difference? First, check the feeling before you take an action. Pause and check in with your body. Does the thought of this action create a feeling of tension, tightness, or dread? Or does it create a feeling of lightness, expansion, or excitement. Your body is a flawless barometer for truth. It knows the difference between the energy of force and the energy of flow. Second, check the source of the thought. Is the motivation coming from a mental voice that says, "I should do this," or "I have to do this or else"? That is the voice of the ego and its fears. Or is the motivation a gentle, curious thought like, "Wouldn't it be interesting to go there," or "I suddenly feel like reaching out to so-and-so"? That is the whisper of inspiration. Third, check the timing. Forced action often feels urgent, frantic, and rushed, as if everything will fall apart if you don't do it right now. Inspired action feels calm. It has a sense of rightness about its timing. There is no rush, because you are operating from a place of trust that all is well. The ability to receive and recognize these inspired impulses is directly proportional to your ability to be still and to surrender. You cannot hear the gentle whisper of inspiration if your mind is constantly filled with the roar of your own anxious planning and plotting. This is why practices like detachment and meditation are so vital. When you let go of the desperate need to control the how, you create the quiet, internal space for the universe's perfect how to reveal itself to you. You surrender your flawed, limited plan to make way for the infinitely more intelligent and elegant plan of the cosmos. So the great paradox of action is solved. You do not just sit on your couch and do nothing, but you also do not go out and struggle against the world. You do the primary work first, the internal work. You assume your desire as a present fact, and you cultivate the state of grateful, detached, knowing. You make being your first priority. And then, from that peaceful state of being, you listen, you watch, you remain aware. And when the light, easy, and inspired impulse to do something arrives, you act on it, without hesitation or second guessing. This is the divine dance of creation, a perfect, effortless synergy between surrender and action, between being and doing. As we begin to bring all of these powerful tools together, the art of assumption, the discipline of a mental diet, the power of gratitude, and the wisdom of inspired action, a coherent picture begins to form. What does a day in the life of a person who truly lives by these principles look like? How do we integrate these disparate concepts into a seamless, powerful, and joyful philosophy for living? We must now assemble all the pieces of this sacred puzzle and learn how to truly become the master of our reality. We have journeyed together through the celestial mechanics of creation, collecting the powerful and luminous tools that shape reality itself. We have unlocked the art of assumption, the discipline of a mental diet, the propulsive force of emotion, and the wisdom of inspired action. We have learned to speak the language of the universe, to command the subconscious mind, and to trust in the great, unseen processes of life. You now possess a toolkit that a king or an emperor of old would have given his entire empire for. But having a workshop full of the finest tools is one thing. Becoming the master craftsman who wields them with effortless grace is another. The time has now come to move from theory to practice, to assemble these individual principles into a seamless, powerful, and joyful daily philosophy for living. This is how you stop being a student of the law and start becoming a master of your reality. Your mastery begins with rhythm, a daily cadence of creation that tunes your being to the frequency of your desires. This rhythm starts not with a jarring alarm, but in the sacred, quiet moments of the morning. Before you reach for your phone, before you allow the world and its demands to rush into your mind, take a few moments in the warm stillness of your bed. This is your first opportunity to set the tone for your day. Do not begin with striving or forceful visualization. Simply begin with gratitude. Feel a wave of genuine appreciation for the comfort of your bed, for the gift of a new day, for the simple fact that you are breathing. Then, set a gentle intention. This is not a demand, but a broadcast of preference. A simple inner statement like, "Today will be a wonderful day," or "Wouldn't it be lovely if solutions appeared with ease and grace today?" Or simply, today, I walk in the assumption of my wish fulfilled. You are not commanding the day to be good. You are tuning yourself to the frequency of a good day, making it inevitable that you will experience it. As you move into your waking hours, you enter the primary training ground, your daytime discipline. This is the practice of the mental diet in action. Your goal is to maintain the beautiful state you cultivated in the morning. To do this, create mental checkpoints for yourself. Perhaps every time you walk through a doorway, you use it as a trigger to pause for a second and ask, what state am I in right now? Am I living from my wish fulfilled? Or have I defaulted to the old state of worry? If you have defaulted, gently and without judgment, guide your thoughts and feelings back to your assumption. If you have a negative interaction or a fearful thought, do not let it fester. Become a master of immediate revision. Take 30 seconds to go within. Rewrite that scene in your imagination to be one of love and success. And feel the relief. You are cleaning your energetic slate as you go, ensuring that no new negative seeds are planted in the garden of your mind. Throughout the day, constantly ask yourself the guiding question: how would the person who already has my desire be thinking right now? How would they be feeling? How would they respond to this email? Then, simply embody that state. Your day culminates in the sacred evening ritual, the time for planting and pruning. Before you begin your main creative act, take a few minutes for a general revision of your day. Run through the events in your mind and lovingly revise any moments that were less than ideal. Change the tense conversation with your boss into a supportive one. Change the moment of anxiety into a moment of peace. You are tidying up your inner world before sleep, ensuring your subconscious has a clean canvas to work on. Then, you enter into your main event, your SATS practice. This is your focused, non-negotiable time for impressing your primary desire upon your subconscious mind. As we have discussed, you enter the drowsy, receptive state and loop your short, sensory scene that implies your wish is fulfilled. You saturate it with the feeling of reality until you drift off to sleep in the loving embrace of your assumption. This daily rhythm, a gentle setting of intention in the morning, a vigilant but loving mental diet during the day, and a focused creative act in the evening creates a powerful, coherent, and unbreakable creative cycle. To amplify your faith on this journey, it is incredibly powerful to keep a journal. But this is not a diary of your problems. It is your personal book of evidence, your logbook of success. Get a beautiful notebook and on the first page, write down your desire as an accomplished fact. Then, use the following pages to document every single sign, synchronicity, inspired action, and partial manifestation that appears. When you manifest a free cup of coffee, write it down. When you have an uncanny, meaningful coincidence, describe it in detail. When you follow an inspired urge that leads to a breakthrough, record it. And when the full manifestation arrives, write down the entire story in glorious detail. This journal becomes your holy book. In moments of doubt or when faced with resistance, you can open it and reread your own past successes. It is undeniable proof from your own life that this law is real and that you are its successful operator. It will restore your faith faster than any external teaching ever could. If you are struggling to believe for a large desire, like manifesting $1 million or healing a serious illness, then you must begin by building your faith muscle. You wouldn't go to the gym on your first day and try to lift 300 pounds. You would start with a weight you can handle and gradually build your strength. Do the same with manifestation. Start small. Set an intention to manifest something you have little resistance to and no desperate attachment to. Manifest a free cup of coffee. Manifest a parking spot right in front of the store on a busy day. Manifest hearing from a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. To do this, simply get into the feeling of the desire fulfilled for a moment. Imagine tasting the delicious, free coffee and then completely let it go. When these small things appear, and they will, celebrate them and record them in your journal. Each small success is another repetition that strengthens your faith, making it easier and more natural to believe for the bigger things. You are proving the law to yourself, one small miracle at a time. As you live this way consistently, a magical transformation occurs. It is best described by the analogy of learning to drive a car. When you are a beginner, you are hyper-aware of every single action. Your mind is a checklist. Check the mirrors. Signal on. Foot on the clutch. Ease onto the gas. It is a clumsy, conscious, and often stressful process. This is like the beginner on this path, who is consciously trying to remember all the techniques. Okay, now I have to do my sats. Now I have to remember my mental diet. Am I detaching correctly? But what happens after years of driving? The act becomes second nature. An experienced driver can navigate complex traffic, listen to music, and hold a conversation, all while their body and subconscious mind handle the act of driving perfectly and automatically. They are no longer practicing driving, they just are a driver. This is your goal. Through consistent practice, all these techniques will eventually fall away, because you will have fully integrated them into your being. You will no longer need to do a mental diet, because your default state of mind will be one of love and abundance. You will no longer need to practice sats, because you will live in a perpetual state of the wish fulfilled. When you reach this state of effortless mastery, the techniques become obsolete, for you have become the living embodiment of the law. You do not need to consciously command your reality anymore, because your natural, automatic state of being is one of power, grace, and creativity. Creation becomes as natural and as effortless as breathing. And it is from this magnificent pinnacle of personal power, from this place of knowing you can be, I do, or have anything you can conceive, that a new, ultimate, and essential question arises. What is the point? Is the purpose of this divine gift simply to accumulate more things, to design a more comfortable life, to satisfy the whims of the ego? Or is there a grander purpose, a deeper reason why you have been entrusted with the very power that creates worlds? We have learned how to become the master of our reality. Now we must ask, for what ultimate purpose? We must now look beyond manifestation itself. We have reached the summit. We have journeyed from the foothills of confusion and powerlessness up the steep slopes of creative principles, and now stand on the high peak of mastery. From this vantage point, you understand the architecture of reality. You know that your consciousness is the only cause, that the world is your mirror, and that you possess, within your own wonderful human imagination, the power to be, do, or have anything you desire. The initial thrill of this realization is intoxicating. The new car appears. The ideal relationship blossoms. The business flourishes. You have proven the law to yourself. You have commanded your universe, and it has obeyed. But after the initial joy of acquiring these things has settled, a new and far more profound question begins to stir in the heart of the true master. And then what is that all there is? Is the infinite, creative power of God that lies within you merely a cosmic shopping service for the ego? Or have you been entrusted with this divine power for a purpose far grander than a bigger house and a healthier bank account? To understand this deeper purpose, you must realize that all the things you manifest are merely props on a stage. Your life is a grand, divine play, and the protagonist, the hero of the story, is you. Or more accurately, your soul, on its journey of awakening. The cars, the houses, the money, and the accolades, these are the scenery, the costumes, and the props. They are not the point of the play. They are simply there to facilitate the hero's journey. Getting the new car is not truly about the car. It is about you awakening the part of yourself that knows its own abundance and freedom. Healing the illness is not just about restoring the body. It is about you remembering your innate wholeness and perfection. Manifesting the loving partner is not about ending your loneliness. It is about you becoming the person who is so filled with self-love that you are a magnet for love. The world is a schoolroom, and the things you manifest are your curriculum. They are the exercises designed to teach you the one and only lesson that matters, the truth of who you really are. There is an ancient story of a wise alchemist who, after a lifetime of devotion, it was finally granted the ultimate gift, the ability to turn any base metal into pure, solid gold. At first, he was ecstatic. He transformed all his lead pots into golden chalices. He built a magnificent palace of solid gold, and he surrounded himself with unimaginable luxury. For a time, it was wonderful, but soon, a strange and hollow feeling began to creep into his heart. The thrill was gone. The gold had lost all its value to him, precisely because he could create it so effortlessly. The joy, he realized, was never in having the gold. The true magic was in the process of transformation itself. He had been so focused on the product that he had forgotten the purpose of the power. His gift was not the ability to make gold, but the realization of his own limitless, transformative nature. With this newfound wisdom, his desires changed. He stopped making golden trinkets for himself. Instead, he walked to a river that had been poisoned by lead from a mine, and he touched the water, transforming the leaden pollution into a pure, life-giving stream. He went to a village where the fields were barren and desolate, and he touched the soil, commanding it to become a lush and fertile garden. He realized the true purpose of his power was not accumulation, but restoration. It was not forgetting, but forgiving. This story illustrates a profound spiritual law. When you truly know, with every fiber of your being, that you can create anything, the desperate need for things naturally falls away. The hunger is satisfied. You no longer require external objects to validate your worth, to prove your power, or to make you feel secure, because you have finally located the infinite source of all worth, power, and security within your own being. And at this point, your desires themselves begin to evolve. They mature. You move beyond the desires of the ego and into the desires of the soul. This evolution of desire follows a natural and beautiful progression. First, you move from desiring things to desiring feelings. You realize you didn't want the sports car. You wanted the feeling of freedom. You didn't want the $1 million. You wanted the feeling of security. And you learn that you can generate these feelings directly within yourself through your imaginative power, without needing any external prop at all. Then, you move from desiring feelings to desiring states of being. You move beyond wanting to feel peaceful, and you set your intention to be a peaceful person. You stop seeking moments of joy, and you decide to embody a joyous state of being. You focus your creative power not on arranging the outer world, but on sculpting your inner self. And finally, you move from being to contribution. Once you have successfully cultivated a stable, inner state of love, peace, and abundance, your cup is so full that it must, by its very nature, overflow. Your desire to get is completely replaced by an overwhelming urge to give. Your focus shifts from what you can acquire to how you can serve. This is the ultimate purpose of your creative power. The true goal of manifestation is not to manifest a better life, but to manifest a better you. You were given the infinite power of imagination not to create a bigger house, but to imagine yourself into a bigger version of your own soul. You must use this power to assume the state of being more compassionate, more loving, more forgiving, more courageous, and more wise. This is the great work. This is the alchemical transformation of your own character from the lead of your old, limited self into the shining gold of your divine potential. This is the only creation that has any true or lasting value. And the most beautiful secret of all is that when you focus on manifesting a higher version of yourself, you are doing more for the world than you ever could by focusing on changing the world itself. When you become a living, breathing embodiment of peace, your very presence creates peace in your home, in your workplace, and in your community. When you achieve a state of unconditional love, and you heal your relationships simply by being in them, you become a lighthouse. You do not run around the coastline trying to save individual ships. You simply stand, rooted in your own being, and you shine your light. And by the simple act of shining, you guide countless others out of their own darkness and their own storms. Your greatest gift to the world, your most profound act of service, is the relentless and joyful work of your own self-mastery. So we end this journey where we began, but with our eyes open to a far grander vista. The path of the Creator starts with the childlike question, what can I get? It is a necessary stage of discovering one's power. But the path of the Master culminates in a new and sacred inquiry. The question is no longer, what can I get from the universe? The question now becomes, who can I become? And from that state of becoming, the final question emerges, what gift can I, as a unique and magnificent expression of God, now give to the world? Your focus shifts completely and irrevocably from getting to being, and from being to giving. This is the true purpose of it all. This is the reason you were given the power to command your universe. We have reached the end of our journey together, but the beginning of yours. We began by questioning the nature of our reality, by daring to believe that we were more than just helpless leaves tossed about in the winds of circumstance. We traveled inward, discovering the first great secret that the universe is a flawless mirror, forever reflecting the state of our own consciousness. We shattered the great illusion of separation, realizing that we are not a drop in the ocean, but the entire ocean in a drop. We learned to speak the native language of the cosmos, the language of vibration, and we found that our thoughts were the blueprint and our emotions, the rocket fuel of creation. We faced the powerful gatekeeper of the subconscious mind, not with force, but with the master key of assumption, learning to inhabit the feeling of our wish already fulfilled. We navigated the paradoxes of wanting, of time, and of action. And we learned to read the universe's loving feedback in the signs that light up our path. Finally, we arrived at the summit, understanding that the ultimate purpose of this divine power is not to get more things, but to become a more magnificent version of ourselves. If you are to take only one truth from our time together, let it be this: the power to command your universe was never outside of you. It does not lie in a ritual, in a guru, or in a distant, capricious God. It was, is, and always will be a function of mastering your own inner world. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. For too long, you may have treated happiness, peace, and love as destinations to be reached, as prizes to be won after a long struggle. Now you must see the truth. These states are not the destination. They are the vehicle. They are not the rewards of creation. They are the very tools of creation. You must first learn to be peaceful to create a peaceful life. You must first learn to be loved to create a loving world. You must first learn to feel abundant to create an abundant reality. You do not manifest your desire and then find peace. You find peace, and then your desire manifests. You now hold all the keys. The knowledge is no longer a secret held in these words. It is a living potential within you. But knowledge without application is merely a story. The true magic begins now, in the quiet moments of your daily life. It begins with your next thought, your next feeling, your next assumption. You have been given the map, but you must take the journey. You have been shown the tools, but you must build your new home. This is your life, your consciousness, your magnificent power. No one can wield it for you. You are the sole creative power in your universe, and all of creation waits in silent, eager anticipation for your command. The universe is not listening to your words. It is responding to your conviction. So, what reality will you choose to command into existence? Starting now.